earnings season. This is Dana Hall at FTNA.ja on Twitter.
And I'm Randy Rowe at RT Rowe on Twitter.
I'm surprised you're not at RT Rowe first.
Right? This is at RT Rowe, who is Randy in real life. Oh, God. And this is earnings season.
As I said.
Yeah. You never said that, actually.
I did. I started. Hey, guys, this is earnings season. But cool, continue.
Oh, well, guys, this is the jumbled up episode. It's not, but we've given you guys a lot of but a lot of other things for the last few weeks. And we're just going back to our long promised market review, as actually talked to Dana about how long we've had it lagging, that we are now thinking of doing that's what we're going to do today. A blitz. Oh, I really hope you guys aren't hearing that timer, which just went off in my ear. But we're really just doing a blitz review. So what's a blitz review? We're going to try and do 8 minutes. Though actually I'm picking 8. Well, I'm picking 8 because I just did 5 and it seemed very fast. So we're doing 8 minutes on each company, either less, or if it's more, we're not going to kill ourselves off, but we're trying to the 8 minutes, or we talk about a company and we move on quickly, because we do want to finish this review and get on to all the other good things that we have. So we are going to try and get a nice review in. On the flip side, 8
minutes, that's per company, sir.
What was that? 8 minits per company? Yeah.
That's per company. That's a lot of typing.
It is a lot of time, I know. It's almost 8 hours, so we're definitely not spending 8 minutes really on every company. But I have that there as if the timer goes off and we're on the same company that we started.
Got it. Sounds good.
There we go. Yeah. A little bit of restrictions, They set through constraints is where creativity shows itself. Speaking of creativity, big up Smithy Royal.
Oh, boy.
Big up Smithy Royal, who decided this week that he wanted to get himself cancelled. So he said,
"People can drink some pineapple in jail, man."
Yeah, you're funny.
Actually, I stole that joke from Nigeria.
Big up Tessellated. That's a big track.
Big artist, actually.
Yeah, big artist for a big track. And that you'd really, really, really talented. I actually met him long before Pine and Ginger thing happened. I ran into him one day at a Virgin a mine store, and yeah, him live the lifestyle, boy. I'm really believing in the music, so glad to see it happening. And big up Smithy, picking the wrong enemies still. Don't diss the people who make memes, Smithy. Don't call them lazy. Anyway, Smithy can defend himself. And anybody who's lost about what we just said for the last 2 minutes, sorry, but we'll get back to the things that you do want to hear, which is stocks. So we are starting back where we left off.
Yes.
Yeah, and where we left off officially was Fontana.
We ended there. So we did go into Fontana, I believe. Because that's where I spoke about my thoughts on what's actually happening with the company, with the blah blah blah, with the pharmacy separate from the rest of the company, and with them really making money wherever, and I'm not expecting there's going to be a massive growth in the business during the COVID. And boy, sorry,
you were right. Yeah, it's one of those painful things, right? Because you got, the financials came out and they were
a hit.
Yeah, a hit is right. Not to say the company is dying.
The company is fine.
Yeah, the company is fine. It's just not making as much money as it used to. Well, that's not even true. It's making more money than it ever has.
Yep.
Right? Yeah,
it's just location and all, kind of have to do them thing there. But I would hope it does that. Better say like that.
Yeah, but the third quarter ended March 31st saw them reporting less profit for this year in 2020 than they did in 2019 when they had less stores.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that, right? Yeah. It's funny. If you look at the actual numbers for Fontana, if you look at the actual results, up to operating profit, they actually made a lot more money. All right. The last year, same period for the quarter ended March 31st, they made 34 million in operating profit.
Mm-hmm.
This year they make 57 million in operating profit.
Yep.
But what they also have was another line called other income.
Other income. Unrealized fair value loss, other income.
Yes. So last year they had other income of 8.5 million. So that added on to the 34. And this year they have a loss of 10.6 million. You know, it's really funny when you realize where the loss came from.
Yep.
The loss came from their financial holdings, their
the short-term unit trust investment.
Unit trust investment. So after the man them actually start make some money, now the blurt need unit trust turn around and beat them up. The same it means that their broker's product, a unit trust, actually made such a big loss that it erased their actual day-to-day core gains. Isn't that funny? The industry is what costs them money. Wow. I thought that was poetic. Anyway, so you know how about Fontana?
Wait, I'm dialing back to there, getting back to that. Let me see if I agree with exactly what you just said.
So they made a loss because of their unit trust.
But they didn't make a loss, they made a loss on the unit trust for the quarter, but they recorded lower profit. That's it.
Yes.
It sounds like it sounds like you're saying, boy. I get what you're saying, but
you're right. Thank you.
If you don't have numbers in front of you, think of it differently.
That is true. I'm saying this with the bias because the numbers are in front of me. So what happened is that they made more greater operating profit,
but their financial holding,
which is in a unit trust, caused them to lose 10.6 million, and that came out of the 57 million. So they ended up reporting 46.5. Then they have finance costs, which also doubled.
Yeah,
and that was a major thing. So the doubling of the finance costs and the loss from the unit trust pulled them all the way down to 25.
But interesting, you know, if the unit trust
21.59.
Say the thing there. Say that line item was zeroed. So they never made a loss on the unit trust. Yes. Then they wouldn't have beaten the profit by much, you know.
Because
there have been like about 31 million compared to 29 million last year. 32 million. So they be barely above.
32, 33. Yeah.
So barely above what they were last year.
That is true. So the finance cost is really what the
combination.
Combination of it. Yeah. True. It's like basketball. You pay attention to the last 5 minutes, but the truth is every point from the start of the game counted. In the same way, I can look on the loss because it's an obvious point on for the unit trust loss affecting their profit. But the truth is everything affected their profit, including the almost doubled finance costs. Yeah. Thank you for that.
I'd love to see a location breakdown, sis.
Yeah, I would. And do you think they'll put that in their final?
No.
Their fourth quarter?
I think not.
Maybe not. I mean, they might if it looks good for them. They usually, companies.
They usually give us nice things when.
Yeah, if it fits the narrative. All right. But let's go. I'm starting the first 8 minutes now. So we're jumping to GENAC. I'll take it.
Sure.
You want to take it? All right. So GENAC, general accident. Boom. What them do? Insurance company, general insurer. And they dropped their results recently. Also, they dropped their results that ended the quarter March 31st, 2020. So they had 1 month are going to be nice and call 3 weeks. 3 weeks out of March was Corona for Jamaica. So I will say that they had, 3 weeks worth of Corona impacting these numbers. And this is their first quarter. So Q1, they made a profit, a strong profit actually. This stock actually spiked since the last time we spoke. This stock actually spiked heavily because this is the first time they're reporting both Trinidad and Barbados. Am I correct? Or are they just reporting Trinidad and Barbados? Barbados is to come?
They're just reporting Trinidad. Barbados not come yet, I believe. Because Barbados, let me actually go check it and stop talking before I talk foolishness.
Well, for the first quarter, what they had was profit of 74.7 million versus 30 million the previous year. Last year, meaning their financial year, they had 651.6 million dollars in profit, and that was against $10 billion in revenue. This quarter, they have 2.5 billion in revenue and 74.7 million in profit. And that revenue is actually lower than it was same period last year, because same period last year they had 2.7 billion in revenue. So they actually have lower revenue. And when I say revenue here, I'm just talking about the insurance that they
the gross
have brought in. Yeah, the gross
money
premium.
coming in
Exactly.
from people insurance premium.
Exactly. They also have commission income, which was lower, and higher claims expenses. But what they did have was an increase in investment income. I won't go to, well, I'll do this one time so I don't have to repeat it. Insurance companies generally make the money in two ways: from the premiums you pay them and from investing the money that they have from everybody's premium, what they call the float. So the money that they make on the float is usually considered investment income, and the money you pay them for a premium is considered gross premiums. Pretty simple story. Even though claims expenses, which is people actually claiming for accidents and so on, went up, they still had a strong profit. And I think the driver of that profit was, one, their other income line. There's no details on what the other income is, but it's probably investments or whatever else.
I think they probably foreign exchange.
You think so?
Probably.
And it wouldn't be reported as FX.
So oftentimes companies fold that into their FX into other income. Because you notice they don't have an FX line separately, I believe. Let me check. Finance charge might be, but other income, other operating expenses might actually just be that.
Okay. Well, I'm happy for them that they've made a strong profit, and the people who have been paying attention to the company for a while. I know big up Philberg Invest. Phil, I know, has been sweating over general accident. For a good little bit. He was worried, which is understandable. He was worried before the results came up because there was a chance of the results from the Trinidad operations being a loss.
Yes, remember one thing there so the Trinidad operations actually bring out the interesting bit into it for me. So on their unaudited report, the quarter they reported unaudited report for, it was due to have the thing there in there, the impact from Trinidad operations, because they bought a subsidiary stake, so it was reported folded into the company, but they did not. And they said in the audited you're going to see it basically.
Okay.
And the audited, so that's the December 2019 results would show that. So the audited results came on December 2019 and showed the effect of the Trinidad in their operations.
Well, so and the Trinidad operations were strong?
They're quite interesting. They were strong, yes, but they had some bits to me that were quite interesting. All right, so I'm gonna get on my notes. I'm sorry, guys. We only have 8 minutes though.
Right, we only have 6.5 minutes left out of the 8 minutes for this company. I would don't want to even hit it for it, but while I'll go ahead.
So looking at it, and all right, so in the audited report, note 38, they discuss acquisition of 55% interest in Motor One Limited, right? On 16th September 2019, the group acquired 55% of the share capital of Motor One. The acquired business contributed revenues of 304 million and net profits attributed to shareholders of 130 million for the year ended 31st of December 2019. But the interesting becomes now, had the entity been acquired at the beginning of the year, it would have contributed revenues of 373 million and net profits of 100 million.
Ooh.
But look at that. In the last quarter brings revenue of 130 million. But if it had bring profits of 130 million, but if it was for the whole year, it would have brought 100 million. So it would have brought less if it had been for the whole year. And another interesting bit, 300 million of revenue for just the last quarter. But if it was for the whole year, it would have been 373 million. So the bulk of the revenue from the king from the actual company from Motor One came in the last quarter. So 73 would have been the rest of the year, and 300 in that last quarter.
So it sounds like it's after them fix it, is right when them buy it, them fix it, or the fix up before them. What do you think?
I think in the fix up enough, so let them buy it and then start something happen. Something happen. Fund a new business to it, something go on. But they said the fix.
Some reorganize.
Yeah. But if you look at the thing there, if you look at the audited report, the most recent report, the March 31st, 2020, you see the thing there. You see, even though we had a stronger profit, sure, which is always good, never not that.
It's just, to me, what it is to me, it sounds to me, because I always try to simplify it. So the simplification of it is essentially that it hints, let me not say it's a fact, but it hints to me that some fixing happened either right before they got it or since they've gotten it, which to me is not a bad thing. It means that
Definitely.
the expertise is there.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? And general accidents is
that's
one.
what deals work very often. Like,
Yes.
I have some client or I have something I need a vehicle to run it through, or I know I can't get this business and the Trinidad market is there, so find some way, somehow, right? Probably happen. And it's mostly they're across the Caribbean. You can see them moving to thing there. You see them moving back into Barbados on GENAC, and more than just GENAC, the group itself. There's something I don't remember exactly where already. Probably I'll try to find it. Is where they said Mostyn is looking to move because they're the original Barbadian company.
Yes, they are.
And they said that the group is moving back. Not move the group itself, but moving back business towards Barbados. So they came here to Jamaica, became a Jamaican company fully, and they're looking to go back to Barbados to get more business for the group. So to me, is the group of the Caribbean mentality. They have seen where they have deals with Caribbean all over. Eppley, that sort of thing. And then now we see this type.
Group, yeah.
So now we're sitting there, we see they're not doing this, moving to Barbados and Trinidad. But the next interesting bit now, so you see a lot of things happening for them in that last quarter for Motor One, right? But if you look at the thing there, the profit attributable to non-controlling interest, so that's the other owners of GENAC. So in the most recent quarter, it looks to me like Motor One had a loss because the profit attributable to the other owners of GENAC is $1.3 million. It's a $1.3 million loss. So that means the subsidiary made a loss.
So in other words, they didn't buy something perfect. They bought something that does need some work.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so it comes down to, do you trust them to do the actual work?
Unless, so to me, it's either there was a great fix in that quarter that happened, the thing there, or the nature of the business is that in that last quarter they have some heavy business. One-off or recurring. Something.
One-off or recurring, yeah. So it will be really interesting to see the audited numbers for this when the year is done, you think?
Yeah, definitely. Or just when the analytics come out for this thing there. So does that fourth quarter, or does the rest of the results for this year? I want to see them because that's very interesting to me.
Yeah, but it is actually very interesting to me, and so
I need to find out what's going on so I can be ahead of the curve buy in with whatever expectation.
Yeah, but whenever they're done, you don't own any GENAC?
I did. I bought some GENAC. I bought quite a bit of GENAC. So before these results were out, my outlook on GENAC was good. So I thought, some will go on, whatever. So I bought a good amount at 4.5, sold it above around $6 or something. So made some good money there.
Well, I can't say nothing. I mean, I own some GENAC also. Still hold some GENAC. Yeah, and I've had a good long-term outlook. And I had a good long-term outlook before they mentioned anything about going back to Barbados or Trinidad, right?
Definitely.
So now they own Motor One, which is the largest, and they also have a license now to act in Barbados.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I like them over the next 2 years. Yeah. Oh, and that was a timer that went off 8 minutes. So we spent too much time on that one. But that's good. As soon as I stop deafing myself with this timer, we are going to run to the next company, which is it GK? It is GK. Grace Kennedy, the big dog.
Yep. Interesting results as well.
Right? They put out the first quarter results.
I actually have some homework to do on GK.
You do? What kind of homework? Public homework or private homework?
We mentioned something in the last episode about the lockup on the dividend declaration.
Yes, about the fact, the lockup of the owner,
the data on himself. So again, they said they will close the company's registrar of the list of members of the company will be closed for a certain period of time, and we said, maybe it indicates something that's going on with the company.
Mm-hmm.
But the data on himself mentioned that it's something they've been doing for quite a while now. Going back,
how long is a while?
He said the first one he found was for 2016. And I'm going back and I'm seeing quite a bit of them. See, May 10, 2019 is there. So it seems like it's a practice they've been doing. I really wonder what the hell that is. Why they do it like that? So that'd be a good AGM question, actually.
I wonder. I have a thought. It would be good. It would be good. But speaking of AGMs, I mean, they seem to be the bad people, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they went ahead and just had their AGM. That a closed meeting for their AGM on May 27th in the middle of the coronavirus.
So they actually had the meeting.
They did, yeah. And they had actual instructions out there because it was live streamed, right? They said that the AGM will be held, and this is obviously before May 27th. They said it was with, I'm just jumping into the letter. It is with deep regret, therefore, that we advise that the Grace Kennedy AGM will be held on May 27th, 2020. It will not be open to the public. We will, however, be streaming the event live. So please check their website regularly for updates, and further details will be posted. And they did do that. They did have it on their website. But of course, an AGM, for those of you who understand the law around it, or at least are familiar at least with a little bit, is it might be perturbed because an AGM requires it to be all shareholders present to be able to vote.
It's not required, but it should be. It should be open to all shareholders to attend in person.
Yes, but voting is also a part of the process, and you should have the ability to vote. So they did give the voting ability via the proxy forms, right? But while the proxy form is an option, the Jamaican law says that it has to be a physical meeting. The Jamaican law does not allow for, and I'm paraphrasing JC here, the Jamaican law does not allow for digital AGMs. Yeah, it has to be in person. And I big up the J. I rarely ever have anything to big up the JC for, so I big up the JC for pushing along this issue. So it says to me that the GK's AGM, again, I'm not a lawyer at all, and we should have started with our advisory. Dana, I'll say it now that neither Dana and I are lawyers. We're not lawyers. We're not investment advisors. None of this is investment advice. We're going to be talking quickly and very plainly about companies, but at the end of the day, it is up to you to speak to your licensed financial advisor about what to buy. This is not financial advice. All right. Having said that, gotten that out of the way, I think that GK, I could see a world where GK has to do over this AGM.
Redo it,
yeah, because any decisions taken there may be null. I personally think that what they're doing is they're trusting that no one will sue them and no one will question it.
It's really, I think it's in the interest of shareholders that they did go forward with it in this way. So Corona reads, I think. So,
Yeah,
but
I agree. But the
where
law
heart
is
is,
the
where
law.
heart is, and where the law is are two different things very often. So
Exactly, and the law is here to protect us small shareholders, right?
yeah,
Because a lot of things can happen if there is law going back hundreds of years that shows, literally no exaggeration there, hundreds of years, over 100 years, I'd say over 200, more than 200 years in markets where it shows the importance of AGMs, and it shows the importance of giving especially minority shareholders
voice,
their full voice, their full voice and their full rights. So I will be happy if I see this done over, and I hope it's done over. And I also hope that the law is changed to allow for digital meetings, because we need to get there. Yeah, digital voting, digital meetings.
I'm I hope very soon we'll get a following of earnings calls.
Yes. I've been trying to encourage
Company
that
need
sort
to do
of.
some more, man. I need to feel like a shareholder.
Yeah. Start talking. The thing is, the earnings calls are to give you shareholder updates, but also, as we can say in the US market and advanced markets, that they're to allow not just interested parties, but the analysts to have an insight into the company and to ask maybe early questions. It is to help guide analyst expectations. And my long-standing battle on that, analysts continue to be substandard. So,
to be honest, analysts, so they do have conversation with companies after results.
They do.
Definitely.
Some do.
Yeah, man.
Some do, but it should be pre-results, should it not? Or no, it's when results drop.
Results are, but so they have the questions on the results. But it's not an open forum, and I don't know that I can call and say, "Oh, I'm an analyst independently," and get you. So,
well, you can. David has said. David, big up the data on David himself. GENAC.ja on Twitter, but he has said he does that, and he has done that in the past. Yeah, I haven't
started hearing from me.
yeah. We'll see. But it's good that JC in this has stuck to their guns, and I look forward to seeing what the end result is with GK. But as it is now, we're speaking about just speaking very plainly about the results. They came with what was surprising to me, the results as of March 31st, 2020. They came with an increase in net profit, right? 1.45 billion Jamaican versus same period last year, where it was just 1.01 billion Jamaican, right? And they have overall revenue of 28.9 billion Jamaican versus 25.9 billion Jamaican same period last year. So this is a growing business, right? What's interesting to me is that if you pay attention to the data that we do and our little dots, Grace complained about a drop in remittances, and we know remittances is a huge contributor to Grace's profit. There's a 20% drop in remittances within the region, but I see Grace not showing it here, at least. So this still is up to March 31st, so it only have 3.5 weeks of Corona impacting it, but it might have had Corona fear before. What they do have, sorry, I just had the reset go off in my ear. I really hope you guys can't hear that. But what they do have is revenue. Do you think it's from a new source, Danai? Well, not a new source per se, but a new push, meaning a new direction. Maybe they have been speaking a lot about the new direction. Their money services is still a strong contributor to their profit, with 814 million in profit. 840 out of that 1.4 million, 814 million came from money services. Right? Yeah, and their insurance is in a loss position, so that's impressive, right? Because one arm of the group, insurance, is actually at a loss, but they still have higher profit.
Yep.
Yeah, wow. Does this loss position, it would be impacted by their latest acquisition, no? Yes, because it's from January to March, and
When did they
would,
there?
If memory serves me.
No.
So
the acquisition period. Okay, so this is my interesting bit about Key and Grace. So
yeah,
in the period of acquisition, they wouldn't consolidate. So they wouldn't put the revenue, their profit go straight down to the bottom. They would actually book it as an investment. So did I get it for more than it's worth or less than it's worth? If I got for more than it's worth, then I book a profit, a line profit saying, oh, I book some gain on acquisition, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
If I bought it for more than it's worth, then I put a loss on acquisition. Cool.
That is true. That's true. And they also acquired it. I had the date on that wrong. On the 24th of March is when they
say, okay, it's ours.
They officially acquired it, yeah. Mm-hmm. So that was like that's a week. They only got 1 week on the board, on the books.
That's what I'm saying. If they acquired any time within this quarter, then they wouldn't book it, and they would book it the same. They would book it in that way. So if it's the start, they could have all 3 months of key under them books. They wouldn't book it in that way. Get me?
Okay.
So the next quarter, when we start see it, because no keys on a subsidiary, we start see booking. Also, keys revenue going to be reflected in Grace. Keys every expense reflected in Grace.
Mm-hmm. Well, we won't touch key yet. We'll just come right back to GK. So yes, based on that, you're saying GK has
all these numbers. None of them show keys revenue or expenses or profit in them.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So
if you look at if you look at this, you realize a lot of the let's look on the growth across on the revenue for each of the line items. Like everything is up.
What do you mean? The growth is food, revenue on revenue. Correct.
So yes. Food and food trading, 3 billion drop on.
Yes, from 20.9, I call it 21.
Yep. Banking gone
to
up
23 billion. Banking moved from 1.49 to 1.54. Insurance moved from 1.74 to 1.84, even though it made a loss. So that is interesting. I'm just wondering, could they have a share of associates and joint ventures line?
Yes.
Which for the insurance segment shows a 7 million loss. So what would their other?
So the associate and joint ventures. So if you look at the audited before this, they show Canopy as their associate and joint venture. So they don't book it as a subsidiary. So the insurance is generally GK Insurance.
How can they not book it as a subsidiary though?
Because they own 50%. They don't own 51. No, so they don't own. So if you own above 50, then they have majority interest and blah, 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 and controlling interest.
Right below the threshold.
Yeah, so they can say it's a joint venture, 50-50. Me and you walking hand in hand.
Yes, yeah. Wow.
So it seems to me Canopy is still in a loss based on this.
But hold on. If they once you're over 20%, you can, or is it that you? No, it's not elect.
If you're under 20%, if you're 20% to 50%, then you're associate joint venture. If you're under 20%, then you're just investment I hold. If you're over 50%, then you're subsidiary.
True, but between 20 and 50%, you can elect to. You can elect.
Yes, you can say I am whatever, or auditors can say you do whatever. Exert significant control, blah, 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 blah.
Correct. So your significant control allows you to dictate the runnings of
you know you where the money go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so that shows your level. So that shows that you have to put it onto your books. So you're saying that they are not putting it on their books regardless. They have chosen not to put it on their books?
Maybe. Or I don't think they want to put it on the books yet. And I think the auditors agree with them based on the last audit having Canopy booked in that way.
Well, okay. Well, they spoke about Key, and Key is obviously a much different beast from Canopy. Canopy is we're yet to see the fullness of Canopy.
Yeah.
And Key, we've also yet to see the fullness of Key.
Fullness
meaning whatever plans they have for Key.
Yes, I agree. Definitely.
Yes, yeah. So whatever plans they have for Key is yet to come, and I'm sure those will be interesting.
But Canopy's numbers are out, by the way.
Canopy's numbers are public as a result of them being an insurance company, or as a result of them being under GK.
I think GK just posted them, like the actual audited results for 22 months in the December 2019.
22 months.
Yeah, man, you know the thing.
God,
It's
yeah,
audited,
I hate that.
and it's not a public reporting like a JSC. So guess what? They can give it anything they want to give you, right? They can audit.
I
They
would
can
say
audit for
so.
whatever period they want to audit.
Oh, that is true. Well, that is true. But I would also say that I would counter that with is not
Regular insurance companies don't have to publish their results, and so it's only listing that causes us to see certain things. But as a regular insurance company, they send their reports to FSC, and then we never see them. So unlisted company like Canopy wouldn't see it. Generally, don't, and they don't really give us subsidiary information more than what we see from the company itself.
so they can choose to integrate it in their numbers. They can choose to hide it if they wish.
Yeah, they don't have to actually break it out and say, "Oh, this is this line item," but Canopy actually published audited results.
Where is this, by the way?
Send the link.
Yes, please, because I would love to see this one. Boy, it's so interesting the things that can happen on this market, right? And GK having been on the market for so many years is also a great thing. So Canopy publish their numbers on their own website, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes. So anybody who is interested in seeing them, it's there for you. So it's the first time I'm going to be seeing it also. So that is a good thing for everybody. I actually hadn't paid attention to what could be happening with Canopy. Before I even open them properly, Dana, you want to just preempt? Is it good? Is it bad?
No, I'm going to say it's in a loss. So.
Yeah, but I mean, a loss for insurance companies is like, it's like normal almost. So it's the audited numbers.
So, health insurance is health life insurance, bread and butter type of thing. That's like,
yes,
very often they're making good money.
Yeah, and it's safe money. I'm safe in air quotes, meaning it's money that, in fact, this money, for talk straight, is money that pulled from Sagicor. That's all. Because it's just money. Yeah. All these people used to be employed, used to be insured.
We pay one bill, let's pay a different bill.
Let's pay ourselves a bill.
Yeah.
So they used to be insured through their group insurance policy through work with Sagicor, and now Canopy exists. People switch their insurance over to Canopy. And these people here being the company principals. So in other words, it's the GK guys, and I'm sure the Mussons going, hey, and other people involved going, hey, we all have these large companies who employ so much of Jamaica, and we're paying Sagicor the insurance. Why don't we form our own insurance company and just profit off that ourselves?
Yep.
And so said, so done. Yeah. And GK owns 50% of that. So if you are one of those people thinking in the long term, you are able to then think about what that means, because Canopy sits like a canopy above so many companies, so many strong companies with long track records, and it serves their interests for it to be there. So an opportunity to be impacted by that is good. What we're looking at here is 2019. It's at 22 months, and we're looking at a loss of 197 million.
Yeah, if you look at the bulk of it the bulk of the expense line is from the admin expenses, and they break that out in thing there.
Note 8. Yeah.
So
where the
large management fee line of 105 million, but that still wouldn't cover the whole of him again. So even if they didn't have that line, there would still be no loss.
Yeah, they have another, what would I call this, 92.5 million. That is from staff costs and startup costs. Yep. I don't know what that is. But staff costs, they did break out, which is 39.8 million in salaries. And taxes, of course, payroll taxes with the employer's portion, and pension costs, 179,000. And then 5 million in other costs. So it is a startup, essentially, but it's a massive kind of startup. It's not your typical startup.
Yeah. Interesting. You look at the thing there, you look at the share of profit, share of loss that will come from Canopy for this one quarter, and it's just 7 million. So that will be a 14 million in losses, 15 million in loss for the whole company, for a big company in one quarter.
Share of losses, where are you seeing the share of losses?
For GK's numbers.
For 2019?
For March 2020.
Okay.
For 3 months, March 2020, it's around 15 million loss they would have gotten. So those losses are looking different from 200 and something for over 2 years to 1 quarter 15 mil. So maybe we can see something change up. But
right.
Yeah.
Right. There's more here. If we had more time, we'd get into it. So GK, like it, I think the biggest threat to GK currently is the downturn in remittances. But I
which
also
might not be so much because
which might not be a downturn at all.
I saw a tweet from Richard Pandohe.
Big up Richard Pandohe.
Yeah, he mentioned about only 2% loss in remittances over the period. Let me check it. I'm just trying to actual tweet and send it to you.
The last thing I saw on remittances was 20%, but I've been checking on the ground with a few people and places I know, and there's been a resurgence, and some people tell me they never get a drop off at all.
Yeah.
But granted, GK is not just Jamaica, it is regional with this remittance thing.
The tweet is Jamaica owes a massive debt of gratitude to our diaspora. 2020 remittances are only down 2% versus last year, 87 to 92% of remittances go directly to household expenses, including medication, and blah, 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 blah.
Oh, share that tweet with me also. That's a good tweet.
Yeah, so only down 2%.
Yeah, Richard Pandohe
versus last year. But I wonder if it's volumes or thing there. Or what call it again? Either volume or
dollar value
versus
dollar value versus
the amount of transactions. Yeah.
Well, I rate Richard Pandohe, and he's a man that's very careful with what he says. Very genial, very open, very fun, but also, as much as he has fun, he's very careful about what he says. Careful with what he says. Actually learned a lot working with him over the years about how to ensure that what you say is accurate and you can stand on it. Yeah. Big up Richard Pandohe for that, and I'll put that tweet in a link to that tweet in the show notes again.
Interesting.
What he's saying.
The key acquisition is mentioned in GK's numbers.
Yes, they are. Yes, because I had checked for that. The acquisition of Key Insurance is part of the group's plan to further strengthen and expand its financial services division, and forms part of the company's focus on mergers and acquisitions.
Yeah,
being a key strategic driver for growth.
Pun intended. Thing that number 5, note 5 is business combination. They said that by key, following table summarizes the consideration paid, net assets acquired, and goodwill, which have been determined provisionally, subject to final determination of the fair value of assets acquired. So the goodwill is not. So interestingly to me, they didn't do it versus the market value of securities, or purchase price versus how much they're trading for when they bought them. So it's versus the actual asset base of the company. And so they look at the thing there, the purchase consideration, cash paid is 490 million. Fair value of assets acquired, 470 million. And the non-controlling interest is 163 million. So the goodwill and acquisition would be 183 million, 562.
And this is so accountanty. I wish we had an accountant here to bring it in. Are you sure that they're not looking at the fair value? They're not looking at the market value at the time? Because for a listed company.
But thing there.
Yeah. That is straight up fair value. And I know accountants, rules likes that. Yeah.
It's because of how I read it that I said it's a fair value of net assets acquired. You're right.
Yeah, I think that might meet. So that 470.9 million, again, I assume because I'm just talking off my head here, I think that might be 65% of the market value as at the date.
Yeah, it might be damn right. But yeah, so they basically said they paid more for the company than thing there. But then the non-controlling interest is factored into that. So it comes up to 183 million. But one next interesting part to me about that is that you're not seeing that number on GK's. So you look in the P&L and you don't see that number reflected. If you realize.
If I look on the P&L, because it's an asset that they've bought, so you wouldn't necessarily see it through the
you
P&L.
Of course you see the P&L, because remember, if you buy an asset for more than if you have a goodwill number at all, goodwill positive or negative, it's going to come on the asset.
It's going to hit the P&L. That is true. The very first time, I believe, yes?
Yes, which is this quarter. We're talking about you can hit the cost first is where you buy it for the worth, and then the next quarter you consolidate it. The thing there, I see one line. I'm really looking for. I'm looking for where that actually is in the thing there in this thing.
In the financials?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not so sure about that. I think we need to do a deeper dive on this one. I don't think we have the time
right now
to spend. I think we do, unless you have it in front of you.
Oh, well, the only number that's close to that is the change in fair value of equity investment change in fair value equity investments at fair value through other comprehensive income. So they might just put it in OCI. I've never seen a company do that though.
Put what in OCI?
Put the acquisition, the goodwill figure, the gain or loss on acquisition inside the OCI. I've never seen a company do that.
But if it's not good, maybe you want it to go in OCI. No?
Yeah, def.
You don't think
Of course, if it's a negative, you want it in OCI.
Yeah. No, I was not in a negative. Because if goodwill is negative, it means that you paid less for it than it was worth. So you would want that on your P&L. You'd want that would be a good thing. That'd be positive. So it'd be
stop.
It's a negative, no. Yeah, a lot of people confused, I'm sure. If the goodwill figure is negative, then it means that they have paid less for it than it costs. If it costs $10, we pay $6 for it, then we have -4 in goodwill. Like NCB got negative goodwill on buying,
and that's a positive.
GHL, and that is a positive thing. Yeah,
but I think the non-controlling interest might be the issue, because look at the thing, the calculation of it. So they bought it for less than it was worth. Well, they paid.
Well, I don't know if
they paid more. They paid more, and then non-controlling interest come on because they're going. I guess because I think the whole they're going to book it further on because of subsidiary. They have to put the non-controlling interest in there, I guess. But it comes to 183. So which is why. So I get what you're saying. I agree with you. Yes. So you would want that to go in OCI, but I don't know if I've never seen a company put something like that in OCI. They usually put it in the P&L. So I don't know how IFRS treats that.
This?
So I need to actually go check that.
Yeah, I let's consider that. Maybe we have a GK only episode. Because it's a hell of a group we can be looked at. There's something to consider.
Indeed.
Look at that. Something to look back at. But GK overall looks great.
Yeah.
I think the two things that we have to worry about with them in the future is how Corona is going to impact them in terms of their sales on the food side, although food doesn't really have much of a margin on it, but still it's there and it's a revenue earner. On the financial side, they would have been hit within the group. They would have been hit with the freeze on dividends, right, from their subsidiary under GKFG Financial Group. And I think maybe if you forward thinking, you also have to look at expected credit losses for that same group. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, which every finance company has to think about these days. So it's a matter of, and thirdly, there is a possible remittance hit. So if those things are bad, they could be bad. And if those things are good, they could be good. And on the growth side, they've spoken about their mergers and acquisitions being a key driver for them. We see them buying Key Insurance, which offers nothing new to the GK Financial Group.
Yep.
So not even to say Junior Market Holding, because
it's
they moved it off the junior market to main market. So the question then arises, why would they buy Key, a loss-making insurance company, and bring it to the main market? Yeah, and those of us who dig can find the answer for that, right? There are only a few reasons to move to the main market. So GK, I mean, in my eyes, I like how it looks, and I like how it looks in the longer term. But it's a matter of how can it weather the Corona storm, the storm of it being impacted in your business, and not just impacted in your business, but impacted with remittances, and not just in Jamaica, but to the whole region, right? Yeah, so time will tell. One to watch.
Speaking of time, that's less than 8 minutes.
I think that is less than 8 minutes, or I may have reset the timer. I don't know, but I have 2 minutes left on the timer, so let's move.
All right, cool.
And we move. Why? You had something else you wanted to add to
No,
it?
I was wondering. So I felt more.
Yeah. It felt like it probably was more. I think that's more like 16. Let's speed it up. GUS. This one is easy. GUS closed
GENAC.ja.
today at 95 cents. I have not heard about this company in such a long time.
Yep.
It's been so quiet since the last set of things hit them. The last set of results we have from them tell us about December 31st, right? Tells us how things are up to December 31st. And we're looking on a company with 32.9, at that point, 32.9 million in revenue. And net loss, because they don't have any profit, so the net loss of 20.98 million. G West is going through it, boy.
Yep.
Yeah, like the forgotten brother that is still going through a rough time.
I think I just think that thing there, bad estimation on the amount of business they'll be getting, the type of business, it doesn't really work out to plan.
Yes.
It's a reality versus what's going on, versus what the plan was.
Yeah, and then they went into a little bit of struggle, I believe, with let me not say they were in a fight. I will say that they did not have. I know you couldn't. There's a point where you couldn't use an insurance. Not any insurance would work there.
Yeah.
But I gather now that has been sorted out.
I hear.
Yeah, and it has allowed them to grow revenue. In fact, they said that in their note that the steady revenue increase is attributable to their urgent care, which is now accredited and able to accept major health cards.
We have a hope that this, that will save them, because at the end of the day, that's still going on. So
it might be nothing, right?
Maybe perception might change. Maybe people start the traffic change and they start getting people down there. But I don't think Corona wasn't a good thing for them. So,
which is funny because if they have an urgent care facility, you'd think that a health crisis might get them more people. But then if you hear a lot of people saying they're no longer going to the emergency room unless it have to really serious for me for risk that Corona, Yeah. So that might have been an issue
elective
there.
medicine does drop off.
Yeah, that's rough. I'd have medical and dental complex. So I mean, they were always a nice mix, meaning they're a real estate company, but they're also earning from their medical facility within their real estate.
The plan seems to be to pivot more than so start real estate and then move into your actual medical complex, earning money from the medical.
Yes, that was always the plan. Once you get all the units sold or leased,
didn't they sell property? They didn't intend to sell it from at the start. Did they have to sell something?
Yeah, I think so. Or they had to take back on something themselves or something like that. Something never worked out. Yeah, they've had quite a few hiccups, including losing leadership, I believe.
We very often you see that GMs and CEOs
cut. Yeah, it's never a good sign when that happens.
More than one
never
time.
A good sign.
More than once, you see a change of the same position. So that was concerning.
Yeah, when you see that stuff, you know that you need steady leadership to step in and go, okay, this is what we're doing, this is where we're going, and at least steer the ship for a little while. If you're in the storm and the captain take over until you come out of the storm. Or if the ship sink, the captain was at the helm, but you need leadership here. And it's just been quiet for this. So I can't wait to see what their new numbers are. They're well overdue.
Agreed.
But their full year numbers are due as at March 31st, 2020. And the last thing I'd heard from them was that they're using the usual Corona delay to say that they are hoping that they will get it on or before July 14th.
Yep.
So we're still waiting.
Yeah. But not much to say beyond that. So
yeah, not much either. Okay. So that ends it for G West. Next up is Honeybun.
Almost a lot of people's favorite stock. Not necessarily favorite, but I very often hear about around Honeybun. From our Dynamite, we've been talking about Honeybun.
Yeah, Honeybun was loved from IPO, and Honeybun is who has. I don't want to get any of them products wrong because they're in a very competitive market. In fact, I'll not say any of their products. Honeybun is Honeybun.
Yeah, the pastry products in the similar packaging. It's like a line of pastry products. I think that's what they're most famous for.
Yes, there's one specific
they
one.
Good money too.
They do make good money. In fact, I think they had a little bit of a turnaround, no?
Yeah, because they said they're doing some, well, not in these last numbers, but yeah, I get you.
Well,
Revenue wise, definitely. Profit.
yeah, but profit wise, no.
Yeah,
No,
to
yeah.
like on profit.
Yeah, so revenue wise, on the 3 months, they've now made 453.5 million Jamaican in revenue, and compared to 406.5 million in revenue same period last year. And for profit, 43.3 million revenue versus 70.9. Wow, that's a big drop.
Yeah.
It's a huge drop indeed. And what is responsible for that? Admin costs have flown. Admin costs have flown from 73.5 mil to 94.9 mil. And selling and distribution costs have gone up, but not as much. That has just gone up from 59.7 to 62.99. That's called 63. So it's not as big. So selling and distribution is not where things happen. Admin is where their costs really have come in. And I don't see them really explaining why.
Yeah, no, I don't see an explanation.
Yeah. Don't see them at all. But I know that when did they list?
I don't know, before my time, before I came on. So
3rd of June 2011. 3rd of June 2011. So their 10-year tax break is almost up. Yes, that's not necessarily a good sign. They're going to have to find something. They're really going to have to find something.
I remember the thing. They redid the facility. They redid the facility.
Entire facility and marketing. Yeah, they put it on everything
because they want it in the certification, basically.
Yes, HACCP certified bakery.
Yeah.
Yes, Jamaica's first HACCP
certified bakery. Yeah. So yeah,
and I said, what was the plan around that? That if you get the certification, it allows you to export.
Export better.
Yes, and with less difficulties. So that plan will be important going forward, especially as they come to the last part of the tax break. Yeah, so they have 1 year left of the 50% tax break, and then they have to be listed. So when I hear that and I'm looking and I'm seeing lowered profits and increased admin costs, I'm not necessarily happy.
Yeah. But I can't. A redoing of facility, I think also they had cleared more space. So I figure that's more workers and da. So I can see, I can kind of see where more admin costs would come in.
Wow. All right.
And then on the flip side, like that, you pay money for it every year or something like that, don't it?
I believe so. Yeah. And you do have to maintain the facility. You have to remain. You have to. Yeah, it's not just automatic.
You know, do it one time and then
exactly.
You go back.
Exactly. So. And to their credit, I mean, business-wise, in terms of understanding their own value, business-wise, that's good. Do it while you have the tax break. Get that certification, upgrade the facility while you have the tax break. It does mean, however, at least in my view, that going forward, they're going to have...
The benefit from it needs to outweigh the cost.
Yes, and I'm not sure that it can. But,
yeah.
We will see in time.
I think of this as a tough game, you know. Like, I wouldn't see myself starting a bakery.
Yeah, it's a rough game, and the competition is rife.
Yeah, definitely. Which is why I think there's a push for the export, and you can see the honey buns packaging, which is odd. I don't really talk about packaging often, but you can see that the type of they have a specific branding relative to the competition. I look at national as somebody heavy on branding and type of thing there. So. But and branding within an export push is always good versus. But I mean, I send some bread over there, so I don't know. Nobody know who sell them. They must have buy them. Yeah, for whole am
True. True. Well, this one is a business run by Miss Michelle Chang, and I believe that they have raisin bread. They have cheese bread. That was the thing I was thinking about what to call it. They have cheese bread.
No, cheese bun, I believe. I think they're cheese bun.
Yeah.
And they have thing there, cinnamon roll, donut, they have a thing there. So,
all kind of thing. Yeah, they do have the individual donuts. Oh, God. Every gas station. Yeah. That's another thing. They pretty much have to be distributed well.
Yep. And schooling. Though, but the thing there, they have an increase in revenue in the period. So.
They do.
Yeah. But when did schools come out to play?
Around the same time.
Around the same time.
3 weeks out of March. So
So we might see the effect in the coming numbers and not necessarily in these numbers.
Yeah. And there are some, like they mentioned some things in the MDA, in the MD&A, management discussion analysis, where they're saying like the prior year had an asset disposal gain of 5 mil, while the current year have revaluation losses of 7 mil, again on the stocks that the company holds. So it looked like these companies that they went in, they bought a lot of stocks with some of the money they had, which is not a bad idea. It's a great idea.
Bad idea.
Yeah. And of course, during the market dip that happened from about February, definitely in March, they got hit also because the reporting was at the end of March. Yeah. And I'm hoping, like, for business continuity, now is the time for them to be buying. Well, back then was a lot of the time for them to buy more. And even now is still the time for them to be buying more. So they have 60 mil worth of investments coming from, coming from about 91.9. Yeah, I call it 92 million worth of investments last year. Up to September, they had that. That's their year in. So they have the work cut out for them. For me, it wouldn't be for me per se, but I can see somebody owning a big stake and profiting off maybe the consistent dividends, because they do pay dividends. Yeah. They paid dividends every year, at least for the last 2 years. And they're not a tight business, so there are little efficiencies that they can make. Do they own distribution, don't I?
No, I don't know. I have to check actually.
Yeah, that's an important one, because whoever does the distribution is key for a business like this. Mm-hmm. That's just it. They say that's what they do. Principal activities include the manufacture and distribution of baked products in the local and the export markets. So, Honeybun, in a tight market, doing well. Mm-hmm. for where they are, but it is obviously making less money. Every dollar counts for them. Yep. And schools being out don't necessarily help. Yeah. So that's one. We are now at I Create. Wow. I haven't spent too long on this. People you've heard. If you don't know, think about I Create, just go back and listen to episode. Which episode is that now? I want to say it's episode 38. Am I getting
39?
39. All right. Yeah, and that one is Kilo. Kilo with
Tyrone.
With Tyrone
Wilson.
What I know is Tyrone.
Yeah,
Tyrone
the CEO
Wilson.
of I Create.
Founder and CEO,
yes.
Yeah. And big up Tyrone. We won't spend too much time on it since we have the actual CEO there. It's not episode 39. Yeah. There's that. And we also have an early episode if you want to know the history behind it. Pretty much where Tyrone is now. First time in the company's existence and being listed that it has made a quarterly profit. And it's for Tyrone to pretty much repeat that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's on. There's stresses that company is under. It's not an easy road. And let's see what Tyrone comes with for it. Because Tyrone has faced a lot of the same dangers. Earlier I mentioned what happens when a CEO leaves. Mm-hmm. And Tyrone has had to face that.
Well, not CEO. He's been a CEO, but
GM,
general managers have
GM, yeah, and a few
board seats, board members have left.
Yeah, and much like Smitty on Twitter, Tyrone has also gone through his own cancelling these days.
Yeah,
but yeah, well, let's see how that goes. If he come back next quarter, we'll ask him about that also. So Tyrone, prepare answers from now, Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Indies
farm
next up.
A company I think can be better. Potential this, when your friend tell you say, oh, she get a boyfriend and
it's like a waste man.
Him have all these dreams of where him can be, and she have all these dreams of where him can be, and say your boy they want educated, they can see where you see him have talent, but he never really does anything about it. Yeah, this is that guy.
Wow, but they never have a big jump with him, man. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, pressure the man. So
no, listen, I rate this company. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
For me to look at someone on the basis of potential, boy, I'm rated.
Yeah. So, looking at the last results, they are up in terms of revenue. They're up from 168.2 mil to 193.7. So 193.7. And that is an 11% jump in their business. No, I have that incorrect. Sorry. That's a 15% jump in their business from a revenue point of view, and from a net profit point of view, they're actually lower. And it's for the third quarter ended January 31st.
Yep. So if you look at the thing there, the numbers, you realize that thing there. So gross profits are still stronger, but profit from operating profit, that's where you see the problem. So it's after the admin expense line, you realize that they have thing there. So when they first came on, they first listed, and they had some plans with the herbal, going to the herbal thing there, herbal medicine, that type of thing.
Yes, nutraceuticals, that sort of thing. Yeah.
And then they paid off their debts. I was wondering. So people see that people are rejoicing. It's a good thing. Debt gone. No more interest expense, finance costs. But in my head, I was like, all right, cool. We get refinance, right? We're going to go into get buy something, we're going to push something. And that hasn't really come. They haven't said there. I think there's one thing where they said they might take on debt, but I haven't seen where they nothing that hasn't happened yet. So admin expense, they're losing admin expense, so profits are lower since. So the finance cost gone, which is good. But they're still losing admin expense despite increase in business.
What I think is important to notice here is that they do have a director's loan amount that has doubled. Usually I wouldn't care about something like that, but the director's current account is looking at 61.4 million versus same period last year was at 34. So that's almost doubling, not doubled truly, but almost doubled. And at the end of last year, their financial year, October 31st, 2019, it was at 36. And currently in January, it's at 61.4. So
wait. Hold on. Director's loan, director's current account, or the current account.
Yes.
Wait. Not following on that one because it's an asset.
Yeah, whoa. It might be an asset, yes, but it's cash.
Yes, it's cash allocated to our director. So the director, the first thing I look for, the director's loan, and that's non-existent. There's the line item is empty, but a director's
current account is the same thing, no?
Yeah, no. The loan means the director borrows money and pays it back. The director's current account means the directors can spend from this current account. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's a payback.
No, man, there must be because it's an asset for the company.
No, it's an asset, meaning the cash is allocated there. How they use asset doesn't mean the money will come back to them. It just means the money is there. And it's the company's money.
No, man. If it was the company's money, it would just be sitting in cash and cash equivalents.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the director's current account speaks to money actually taken out.
No, man. So the money is there the money is there for the directors to use. This is how I understand it. The money is there for the directors to use and not necessarily pay back. It's still it's the company's money. It's just the directors can spend it for
on what?
Company purposes, I believe.
It has to be.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, man. So,
yeah.
But I'm not thinking that this money will go back. Any money spent will necessarily go back to the company. I don't think the directors can just spend it willy-nilly. They're not going back already, but it will be spent for purposes of the company, if you get me. So expenses that come in relation to the company.
You see, this and I want to run up against, because in my mind, the director's current account speaks to money actually taken from the director. The director has actually taken, That's how I view it. I view it just like a director's loan. So it sits as an asset because it is money that should be repaid to the company. But and the fact that it moves says to me that the director has actually taken.
I was actually looking at it wrong. You're actually right. You're right.
I think you're looking at it as like an actual account, meaning like, the money just sitting in the account. No, man. This is money taken from the company. So that's why it stood out to me, because, it's cash. But part of buying into a listed company is the simple fact that you take on the listed company and its directors and whatever you have to show some amount of trust for them, right? So you buying into this company should be saying that you trust Mr. Mapuri, and I'm going to get that name wrong. You trust Mr. Vishnu V. Mapuri. Mrs. Apologies. Wow.
Those secret directors.
I think they're a couple. I think they're a couple. So yeah. And they don't have the liquidity position is healthy, as they say. And they have a lot of assets, but I know that including that asset would be the fact that they have loans. I know they bought some land the other day to do something with. There are, it's even mentioned in the MD&A. Wow. So they're setup costs for a new facility in Freeport, Mobay. I mean, big up them. I like what they do. I like that they exist, and I like that I'm assuming that they have made better money during this Corona time. I'm assuming. We don't know how much they make up until, the most we know is how much they made up until January, right? Or am I missing
you're
something?
Right, man.
Yeah. So, no, Manu. No, they did release something else, or did this just come out? This came out this week. The second quarter came out this week. So let's move. That was me with all data looking at the first quarter. The second quarter
so wait, that's not on thing there? That's not on. Oh, JC do put on them tab.
Why am I not surprised? Well,
Index.
Yeah, here.
I did see the thing there. I admit, man. Okay, I did see this. Why?
You probably saw. How did you see? Probably through the group.
Probably are just checking JC's website. That was it. Okay, good. Okay. Overstored. Continue. Yes. Because this was thing there. Why I remember this? Because I saw a Ram tweet. Big up thing that he was saying. He was bigging up indies. And that's why I checked it. I don't think I spent long on it, but I know I checked it. And yeah. Very different from the last result. It's a game changer for the year too. So they were down on the year and they're as per the last results, but they're not up on the year. Because this is a solid game.
Okay, yes, this was the thing that was exciting. This is the thing that sent the price higher. Because I know that there was a reason that the price flew. The price flew for a little while there. Yeah, man, it jumped from like it was averaging in the $2.20, $2.30, and it jumped all the way to $2.98 after these results came out. So these results came out June 10th. Wednesday, June 10th, I'm going to assume in the evening after the market closed. And then the very next day, June 11th, it jumped from $2.30 to $2.54, right? And it has continued to rise till recently where it just did a small dip. So it's actually now at $2.92 as of the day that we're talking to you here today in June 16th. What can I say? These guys, no, so let me give people the better numbers now very quickly. 6 months results, 400.96 million versus 361. And on the 3 months, 207.2 versus 193. On a profit basis, the profit almost double. So them jump from 32.6 mil in net profit to 68.5 mil. That's on the 3 months. And on the 6 months, they've jumped from 79.5 mil profit to 108.1 mil profit, right? And what's important here is that in all of the last year, the 12 months for last year, they made 130.9, call it 131 million in terms of profit for the entire year. And in the 6 months mark, they have made 108 of that already. So these guys are already in 6 months at
they made more than double. Roughly. They made more than double, more than half last year's 82%. Number in this one quarter.
Oh, wow. That is big because for the 6 months so far, they have made 82% of the full year figure, which means that they're almost definitely going to be blowing this year's profit out of the water, barring anything totally catastrophic. They're likely going to be blowing this year's amount out of the water. I mean, they're not undervalued. I think they're undervalued,
Likely.
Or I could be wrong. Let me look at it and work it out manually. Out of the 8 minutes that we have for them.
So the jump, is it Corona?
Well, that's a great question, right? Because they're reporting right up until April 30th. So they are not the first company I've seen, but they're one of the first companies to give us the actual effects of Corona. That meaning that they have given us February, March, April. So they have a month and
a half.
Let's say a month and a half. Yeah, will be nice. So really and truly 2 to 3 months of direct Corona. But Indy sells medical supplies.
They're larger distributor, and it's generic things. So
yes, cheap things.
Can people stocking up on that type of thing?
Yeah, I suspect that they're doing really, really well. You guys can read the MD&A for more info on that. But if we are looking at from a PE basis, I believe their PE so far is 12 cents, and there are that's still a PE ratio of 24 times. So they're still actually high. They're still pretty up
there.
High, yeah. Unless you're considering the potential and what it is that has given them this opportunity to jump, yeah.
But that would require to increase business of this type across for the rest of the year going forward. So
the revenue itself for the quarter never really jumped that much, it jumped like 14 mil.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's not that big an increase. A large part of their gain came from, in terms of 6 months, they have $2.5 million worth of exchange gain versus last year same period they had.
Admin expenses less than last year.
Are they?
Yeah, 81 versus 99.
I was looking at the 6 months. So that, wow, that is good. That's efficiency right there.
Yep.
That's efficiency, right? Less admin expenses and your profit is more than doubled. Your net profit is more than doubled. Yeah, that speaks to tight management, which we've seen. So we've seen where they've paid off debt in the past. We've seen where they've concentrated heavily on the business. And now we've seen admin management.
And the cost of sales are going along for this quarter. So revenue up, cost of sales down.
Yeah, so this is a company that is tightening its ship and being more and more efficient. That's a good sign in my view.
They did mention the stock price in the MD&A, so I would have a feeling that they care.
Yes, I like that. And they do also speak to their debt, which I know pleases a lot of the value investors. So they speak about the fact that they took a short-term loan to purchase land, which is to use for construction, right? Which is even great. Even better, because it means that the man them serious. It's not a fly-by-night thing, them setting up themselves. So
you look at the thing there, look at the director's current account. It hasn't much moved since. So the 6 months is 63 million, and the previous quarter was 61 million. So there's not a big increase. So good thing.
Wow.
Hasn't moved much since last quarter.
True. But notice that there's a director's loan line and it's empty. So
yeah, but that's a thing there. That's a liability. So that would be the company lending to the director.
Yeah. So well, doesn't that come back to the first part of your point?
The company borrowing from the director. If it was a liability, if it's a liability.
Sorry. Yes.
That was there from before with the listing.
Long before.
Yeah. During the listing times, I think there was an issue. There was something going on there. So I'll check that.
Well, yeah, a nice one to dive a little deeper into, and I think it might provide some value for the people who have a little patience. Well, let's move on.
Indeed.
So, as Indies, what's up next? ISP Finance, another quiet company. ISP, very, very quiet company. Hasn't really even traded much. It rarely trades.
Nobody traded both is high or low. Because somebody said, all right, let's buy it big, buy it slow. You look at the last last 50 shares traded since May 21. Only 50 shares traded.
Yeah. And before that, on May 20th, they had 6,000 shares traded.
Yeah.
Then you say 50 on May 20, what's that? May 29th, right?
Yeah.
And then nothing since then. So we're talking to you in June, middle of June, and they haven't traded all month. So it's a very small company. And they have their financial year ends December 31st, and they put out their financial statements, and there isn't much to say there.
That's business as usual, it feels like very often.
Yeah, because they're a small loans company. That's what them do. So there's not much that shifts unless they do something interesting. Their financials look, I don't want to say chaka, but chaka is kind of, it's kind of, the sizes don't match up, the pages don't match up, but their income is growing. Income from loans at least is growing from 306.2 mil in 2018 to 367 mil in 2019. Sorry. And overall, their net profit for the year did not grow. I can't say that I'm surprised because they're in a business that is tightening. Their net profit almost halved. It moved from 43.6. If you use comprehensive income, it'd be 44.3 versus this year, which is 2019, they're down to 22.9.
Yeah, and I can't imagine they're better off right now doing all this.
Right? And credit losses has hit them really hard. I noted that jumped out at me. They moved from 35.8 mil to 87.6 mil allowance for credit losses. I mean, and they're in the part of the loans business that is higher risk. Okay, so ISP has their audited numbers out, and it's for the whole year 2019. Bottom line is, as ISP, they are in the loans business and they're feeling the pinch right now, like so many people are.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and they've been feeling the pinch long before Corona.
Yeah.
In fact, Corona could technically be an upswing for them, right? Because people have less money now, and companies like this really make a lot of money when people are making less money. However, it's not, they don't benefit when people are making no money, because
you
need to be able to work. Exactly, you have to be working to pay them back. So expenses have flown up almost 100 million more, from 234 to 309.97. It's called 310 mil. Staff costs is a nice little piece of it, but credit losses, like I said, doubled on them from 35.8 to 87.6. And other operating expenses have moved up a little bit to by 15 million. All in all, these guys are in a space where things are just like Access, you know?
Yeah. Things might not be so good right now.
Exactly. And they are about to face their half year tax break is now on. So they're only getting 50% of the taxes written off by the government. There's not much more to say. I can't waste more time on them. It's ISPs, not that great.
One of the boring companies, I call them. Yeah, there's not much really happening all the time. So
exactly, and they hardly ever trades. I mean, you jump into ISP, you might be right a long while. Next up is GENAC.ja, the exciting GENAC.ja. Wow, definitely not a boring company.
Indeed.
GENAC.ja has strong results. Last I checked, in the second quarter, the most they told us about was up to March 31st. So they only got half a month or 3/4 of a month of Corona. So their revenues are up 473.3 versus 314 and on year to date. And they're in a loss. But okay, so this is one of my little time on. So GENAC.ja is the parent company of QWI. And
they fully consolidate QWI. So if QWI make a loss, then their loss is fully into GENAC.ja's numbers.
Yes. And if QWI makes a profit, vice versa, it falls in. So QWI has continued to make a loss the last few quarters, I believe, mainly because of exactly.
Yeah.
And it hits GENAC.ja. So GENAC.ja itself, if you want to have an idea of how it's doing, you have to look at their segment report, really, and they also tell you a lot of things in their MD&A.
But all right, so what I don't like doing, I don't like discounting investment losses or gains.
No, neither do I. But I like being able to tell where what is coming from.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But I said that to say, continue looking. But I said that to say, there are some that were ready to discount investment gains. So I haven't heard anybody decry investment losses yet. I would expect the same people that say, "Oh boy, it's investment gain don't make sense," to say the same thing about investment losses. It's not real losses, right, guys?
Yeah.
To me, it's really losses, but I wonder if they have the same sentiment and are willing to buy Jam.T despite.
Yeah.
If anybody had that mindset, just feel free to, at earning season on Twitter and just let us know
Let us know
if you
if you believe in that.
if you believe in that.
Yeah.
You seem to never believe in investment gain. If you don't believe in investment losses now.
Yeah, the simple fact is that you can't. It's hypocritical if you like one and ignore the other. yeah. That's
I didn't think it needed to be said, but
boy, these days everything needs to be said. Otherwise you hear so we never say it. It wasn't understood.
Oh yes, misquotes. But
right, but their revenue, importantly, is strong. So I like their revenues are so strong.
Oh yeah,
because 473 versus 315 and 906 million, almost $1.5 billion year.
And I see them boasting on the new export push very recently, how they're pushing more exports to foreign.
Exactly. Yes, there was a little snippet in an article.
Yep.
What was it that they said? I trying to remember. I remember the article.
Yeah, I trying to remember. Let's searching.
Yeah, but I don't think it was around Jam.T. I think that's it. But I believe what was important in the article, it was just a byline, guys. So this is how you put together some of the facts. So there's just a byline when they were talking about how Corona has affected certain companies.
And Jam.T.
And they're saying, Jam.T. was mentioned, and they spoke to the director, Mr. Mahfood, who said something along the lines of, I'm paraphrasing because I have it in front of me, something along the lines of, it's not all bad, and we actually have had a huge ramp up in our exports to the point where we have had to put an extra shift on our manufacturing, and we're still not able to make as much as we can sell.
Yeah.
And this was during a Corona time that he was talking about. So it is very, very, very interesting to see what that will translate to.
I mean, the investment gain, cash is king. So yeah. Discount the losses and the investment losses and the cash making portion of the business. Do you know that, right?
Well, this is core, right? Because this is them actually making teas, yeah. And Jamaica Teas is really interesting with that. I can't find Jamaica Teas export spike. There we go.
Yes.
Export spike at Jamaica Teas. So I will put this. No, this is incorrect. This is an old article. We'll find out. I'm putting. If you don't see it there though, guys, that means that we didn't find it, and maybe somebody wants to look it up, and feel free to send it to us. That'd be really good. Yep. But it was speaking to an increase that they're having in their business. Yeah. Export business specifically, so it has bounced back strongly. And until you hear that somebody have to put in an extra shift, so things are good. Jam.T, way before Corona was invented, Jam.T, we were excited about what they have coming in terms of the AGM. They actually had a stock split coming, and it seemed to indicate that there was more to come. Because they went for the usual increase the ordinary shares from 1 billion, which is where they are currently, authorized shares from 1 billion to no maximum. Yeah. Yeah. And they had a stock split that was supposed to happen the 1st of April, but Corona came out and wiped that hot. So with that all in mind, it is interesting to see what they're going to come with now, because I believe they're part of a push now to, they had to cancel this, they had to put the split off, they had to put their AGM off. Yeah, and they are now in waiting mode, but I don't think those guys are in waiting mode. In fact, you remember we have an entire episode where we talk about what it was that they're expecting to do based on the internal resolutions they'd passed, and also the approvals for them to have like a bonus system, which would allow a certain share price for workers at the company and directors could buy at a certain share price, and that share price was higher than what the share price was at the time. So won't go too deep into it. You guys can listen to the old episodes or look that up yourselves on the old resolutions from Jam.T. I still like Jam.T. I think I'm actually still a Jam.T. shareholder. And I have sold a lot of other companies and I haven't sold Jam.T. I don't have a lot left in Jam.T, but I'm still a Jam.T. shareholder, and I'm still looking forward to hear what they'll come with after things ease up. So good luck to them.
Indeed.
And they still have their apartments for sale. I think that's actually done or near done, Yeah. Actually, I have a funny story I need to tell you when I finally see about that apartment and the designers and Jamty and me. Long story. Anyway.
All right.
So Jamty, good, bad, or ugly. I like what they're doing. The baddies at Corona kind of frees them up, and QWI continues to hit them. And until QWI sends consistent wins or even a win their way, they will continue to feel this hit. But I think that both those things will be handled, both Corona and QWI, in my book. Yeah. The Jamaica Broilers Group, boom. I won't even spend too long on this. We know them the chicken, them the eggs in Haiti, them the chicken and eggs in Jamaica,
Chicken
the
and
broilers.
eggs.
Yeah, they have an
Chicken and eggs
entire
in
vertical.
America.
Entire vertical in America where they have meat. They were going through problems long before Corona. There are actually riots in Haiti, and their Haitian business has consistently given them a rough time. On the flip side, I've seen a lot of their directors purchasing shares over the last few weeks.
Yep.
But there's a mix. I'm looking at one right now in April where 2 directors sold 553 100 JBG shares, but 3 connected parties bought 4 million JBG shares. And if you look back before that, there's a lot of purchase. This is usually indicative of a company that knows that something is coming and the directors are buying while they can. I'm going to put this dot tied to another dot from, let's say, an industry player, an employee of an industry player, and how excited they seem about JBG, even when there was no obvious reason business-wise to be excited about them.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see industry people doing things like that, it usually says to me that they know something that the rest of us don't know. So the 2 sets of people that can know what's happening in JBG without me or you, the regular public, knowing, is the brokers, because they'd be linked to the business, and whichever broker that is, because it's not every broker, obviously, and the directors. And I see directors purchasing shares consistently, even though some are selling. And I also see the industry people I know, for some reason, being excited about JBG. And whenever I see mindless excitement, I know that there is usually additional info floating around in those circles. So who knows, JBG could surprise in terms of what's happening with their operations. They've got, for the quarter, and the results they've given us is a quarter ended January 2020, and that's their 9 months. So April would have been their full year. So we are waiting in June for them to give us their full year numbers. It's due any day now, no?
Should be, yeah.
What's the rule for full year again? What's the rule?
60-90.
60-90.
But 60 because they didn't give us anything. They haven't given us any unaudited. So they would give us the thing there. And they generally they don't give an unaudited fourth quarter, I believe, generally. So.
Okay. So they are going to we are expecting them to give us 60 days. January will be February, March, April, May, June. To the end of June is when the 60 days will be up. Mm-hmm. So we will find out very quickly if things are going well. Yeah. And from your look on this thing, you see the share price, with all that bad news, you see the share price going up. From June 11th. It started to suddenly rise. You usually say the 26 raise, and it just suddenly start rising. Mm-hmm. And it's at 29.
Look on a steady raise, and then boom.
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe someone knows something. PE ratio of 13.8 times at the current price of 29.77. And just straight net profit, 470 million for the quarter ended January 2020 versus same period last year where it was 762. So that's a big drop in profit. And for the 9 months ended January 2020, 1.1 billion Jamaican versus 1.4 billion Jamaican same period last year. So something needs to happen in between, well, and it's funny, they said the 25th and 26th of January. That's such a very funny date. Do you notice this, Danai?
26, wait.
9 months, they gave us results. So the 9 months period ended the 25th of January 2020.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very interesting thing. Why would they do that? Why wouldn't they just go to end of January like everybody else?
Wait, stop.
What could be? This is another dot right here, right?
No, Jamaica Brothers weird, you know.
I know they can be weird, which is I'm checking.
The last time they gave us 26th. They gave us 26th of January last time.
You're saying that based on them comparing, or
no? Or looking at all results, 26th of January.
And so they've usually done that, the 26th of January.
Yeah, 25th, 26th. So the last one, 26th. This one, 25th. So JBG, they give us, it's all 22.
Wonder why they do that.
It's the 27th of October.
Yeah.
28th of July.
All the way back
to
man, they've been 2019. Okay, good. Guys, that's what it looks like when you're excited about something, you want to hear it.
The lie
and
you
then you
want
go and
to
check
believe.
The lie you want to believe. Exactly. Woo. So there's nothing weird there. My first 2 points, I still think it's interesting that industry people are acting how they are, but we'll see, right? And I did hear some good news about them saying that, because of Corona affecting America in a specific way, and Corona affecting America in a specific way, something just clicked to me. If they have an entire vertical in America, they can list in America,
Yeah.
Maybe not NASDAQ, but you and I know there's whole heap of, there's an entire world below those big caps. And a company that benefits from something like that may very well good. And these guys are no fools, I know that. And if they're doing something like that, they would do it very closely with a bank or an investment house, which might indicate so. But again, this might be the lie that I want to believe.
So, listen, America we require American investment houses.
Repeat that? They would require what?
Would require American investment houses.
Yes, but you would also be doing that liaising with local investment houses.
Yeah, man, you talk to your investment advisor. I will say no more.
Yes, that is 100% true. And that is what everybody should do. So they have a full vertical in America, processing plant, etc., etc., etc. In fact, they say in the last year's results had a one-off gain when they bought a business. So Haiti is still giving them problem. All right. So Haiti have an operating loss of 92 million versus a year before when they had a profit of 146. And Haiti actually went through some trouble before Corona. They actually, I think they overthrew their leader again.
The marathon was going on down there. So.
Yeah. And so I can see them being impacted in that space. But remember, things that move companies are not just operations, but you do look on operations because that's core. Anyway, you cut it, they're making less profit now. But the players within the company and the space aren't acting that way. And whenever something is strange, it warrants looking into. So JBG, I like it. And really, whether or not I personally am going to buy it is going to be dependent on how I sleep on this information and how I feel about everybody involved not acting scared and buying more.
Indeed.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Dividend payer, and they pay consistent dividends. I think they pay dividends every other quarter. So that's interesting for the people out there watching dividends.
And they'll put him rent.
Yeah, right. You know. Big up my landlord. The JBG, I mean, I like it. There's not much to squeeze that egg with. Not much else to squeeze that egg. So let's move on to JETCON. One time boost. Hey, JETCON have some really nice volatility, You ever notice it? Up to like a week ago, it was below $1,
Mm-hmm. And so where's it today?
It is currently at $1.11. You could have bought it for 85 cents on June 3rd. Wednesday, June 3rd, you could buy it for 85 cents. That's last week. A week, 2 weeks ago. June 16th, it is currently $1.11. And that might sound small for the new people, but it's not. The difference between those two is 30.5%, which is close to what the entire market returned last year. So
those volumes.
JETCON, right? Yeah, and it's sudden increase in terms of volume movement. But connected parties are also buying up. Wow. A direct and a connected party purchased a total of 3.8 million shares between June 4th and 10th. So the supply of JetCon shares is going low, and JetCon doesn't even have 1 billion units, right? So that is something to look at. The supply is literally drying up there, and the price is going up. But the price fluctuates because it was, if you go back to April, it was over $1. It was $1.16 April 8th, May 8th, or June 8th, it's at 90 cents, and June 16th is at $1.11. This big up Top Striker Shan for this one. For she love a stock like this, which I'm sure she probably does. A stock like this allows you to really, if you can map the waves of people, you can get a good money off of it quickly if you're in the short term. But again, people, if what I just said sounds very attractive, but you don't really know them thing there, you should not be doing this. You should be going low and slow and speaking to your investment advisor about low and slow.
Indeed.
About safe and understanding. Yeah. But JetCon itself is a strong company. Them sell car. That's what them do. And they have been going through a little bit of a rough time, and then Corona came and gave them an even rougher time. They're making less revenue, but they're making more profit. Well, sorry, less revenue and less profit. Apologies. 1 billion in revenue versus 1.16 billion the year before, and 60.3 million in. Say that again?
Heavy chop that.
Yeah, big chop. And 60 billion in profit versus 91.9 billion in profit. Million. Sorry, this is me wishing more for them. 60.3 mil in profit for 2019 versus 91.9 in 2018. I can see an increase in business for them in 2020 though, post-corona. Well, I would have loved to see that. The truth is, if we get hit with heavy layoffs,
and the problems with the used car market are still prevailing in terms of saturation, and that it's just getting worse and worse, to be honest.
Yes,
and
yes.
As you said many times,
really low.
As you said many times about them buying up lots, that never happened. So,
yeah. These on the flip side, they do have people inside who understand not just the business, but how to make money from the money in the business. Yeah. I mean, it is a John Jackson associated company. He is the director there. His brother is the owner. He is the chairman of the board. And let's see what they do. This is another case where I believe that you might see a surprise if anything new comes out, if anything good comes in. And I see directors buying up loans or an associated company buying up loan. Who knows? Somebody can dip into that. Don't own any JetCon, but I don't hate them. Sorry, buying up loans. You're slipping and saying rubbish. Buying up units.
Yes.
Yeah, buying up units. Currently they are rated at a PE ratio of 7.7 times. That's actually mad low. Anyway, you cut it.
Yeah.
So this might be a gem for people who may not have been paid attention. Imagine it's at $1.11. It have a PE ratio of 7.7 times. What was it at 85 cents?
I think the issue is that people not really seeing more profits coming from them yet. So if that happens, then boy, I see the run. Otherwise, might just stay low.
JetCon have a special place in my heart, because they're the first time they're one of the companies that helped me to realize that, oh wow, people really see the market differently. Yeah, back in the day, and they have that kind of, I won't say taint because it's not a taint, but there are a lot of people who have been skeptical of them over the years and continue to be skeptical of them within the industry, even though their performance is obviously good. Anyway, I mean, I like them, and we'll see if there's more to be seen there. Next up, we have
favorite
JMMB.GL, the big dog. I'm sure the people who have been listening just to hear us talk about JMMB. Woo! You want to take this one, or if you want JMMB? I've been talking a whole heap. What you about JMB?
Let me start with. Yes, I like the company. Good company. Do you know that?
Great company.
Yeah, great company. But they might have. I expect not so good in the next results. It's been a while. We can talk about this now. So I'm sorry for anybody that saw what we
Still
saw
waiting.
and still waiting on what happened. So
Yeah.
recently, Sagicor Financial Corporation, their numbers came out, and it's at a loss position, which means JMB will see a share of associate line, the share of a loss in associates, and that's a heavy number for them. So, all right, I'm just get to the actual numbers.
Yeah, so for the confused people, while Dana is looking, JMB owns 22.5% of Sagicor Financial. Yeah,
so
and that's the big Sagicor.
So the Sagicor is listed in Toronto, and they have operations across US and the Caribbean.
Boom. Yeah. And they have it as an associate stake. So, I mean, anybody who's on Grow or listened to the first part of this thing would have heard us. I've done this so many times at Grow. It means that they have chosen to integrate these numbers with their numbers. Am I correct in that?
The thing there. So the integration is really just a share of profit or loss in associates. So any loss or profit that Sagicor makes, then JMB is going to put 22% a line item in their P&L for 22% of that. So if they make 100 million profit, then JMB will say, okay, we made 22 million from Sagicor, from our stake in Sagicor, and it'll go to them bottom line. But since it's a loss, expecting a loss for JMB, expecting JMB to say, okay, there's a negative from Sagicor in our line, in our thing there. Yeah. And let me find the actual numbers. Yes, there they are. Yeah. So Sagicor's numbers, they had a loss of 25 million US. Shit.
25 million US for their latest quarter. The quarter ended March 31st, right?
Which is what JMB is waiting on the line.
Yeah.
So
25 million US overall. That's a company loss?
Yes. 25 million 120. 25 million 120,000, yeah.
25 million 120,000. 5 million.
Wait there. No. Let me check. I'm seeing that's company, but you want to consolidate it.
Yes, you do have to go consolidate.
Yeah, it's 25 million. Okay.
Yeah, man, it's 25 million. That match what I had looked at before. So that means
great. Okay. All right.
JMB's portion of that would be that it might just mean say you and me wrong together, you know.
No.
You know, you say right.
It's
but
right.
Yeah. All right, so JMB's portion of that loss would be 5.65 or call it 5.65 million.
Yeah.
US dollars.
5.5.
Okay.
Wait. 25. It's thing there. 0.225, no? Yeah, so it's worse. Okay. 5.65 roughly.
Yeah. I did the same thing where I was hoping to find like a little leeway.
I never put the 5 on the end of 22, so.
Oh, wow. And if I multiply that by 140, which is the rough US to Jamaican rate, Jamaican to US rate, we're looking at a possible loss of 791.3 million.
Yeah.
JMB.
For context, JMB.
Yes. For context, JMB.
So for a quarter in JMB, so JMB's last quarter, that was
December 31st,
2019, they made profits of
1.2.
Yeah, 1.2 billion.
Yep.
So that loss would eat out quite a bit of it.
Yes, if they had to recognize this loss, they would have ended up making, I don't think the numbers right here that I've just calculated are correct. 3. Oh, this is correct. So they would have made only
400 mil.
400 million profit, which is not good for a company JMB's size.
And compared to the last quarter, so imagine 400 mil compared to 900 mil. Yes, falling.
Correct. Yeah. So simple version for everybody who lost a while ago. Sagicor Financial have a big loss. JMB is they're an associate of JMB, so JMB is going to have to eat this loss. They haven't reported it as yet, so they do have a big loss. They do have a big hit coming. Mm-hmm. Now, we don't know what else JMB did during the quarter, right?
Yeah, so they might offset it. Might even be
exactly.
I'm doubtful.
Exactly. I don't think
they can weather the storm heavy and say, boy, yeah, we could, despite that big number.
Yeah. And if you go deeper, part of the reason why Sagicor Financial had that, I mean, they blame Corona, but the hit that really hit them, Sagicor Financial, was their US business, right? That's where a big hit came from. And of course, Jamaica also had a loss. Did they have a loss, Sagicor Jamaica?
No.
Maybe comprehensively. I don't remember. Maybe on comprehensive side. But the US loss was really the heavy part. Why is this important? Well, much like every other financial company, they had to make provisions for expected credit losses. Now, JMB is also going to have to make provisions for expected credit losses. Yeah. So in addition to this 791 million hit that Sagicor Financial is about to knock them with, they also have expected credit losses. Now, will they have good enough business within Q4, which is January to March 2020, to offset both the expected credit losses plus the Sagicor hit? I don't know. That's a gamble. I personally don't think so. And I exited a huge part of my JMB stake as a result of seeing this coming. Not because I don't like JMB. I still like JMB. Actually, I love JMB. I think I don't love them, but I like the company. Yeah. I like the stock, and I like the fact that they have Sagicor under their belt now. However, there's no need, our view, while you might be into long-term investing, there is no need to go into a loss that you see coming. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if I plan to own JMB in 10 years, but I see next year or next 6 months is going to be bad, there's no need for me to stay in there and go through the bad times with them. It's not my wife. I don't love them. All right, it's not good times and bad. I am a wagonist. I'm only here for the good times. So, yeah, I jumped as a result of that.
As did I.
Yeah, and it's funny. They are now at 33, which is below what was the APO? 38.75. Mm-hmm. If you didn't own shares before, so 38.75. I know they're at 33. Today they closed at 33.11. $33.11. $33.11, and they are now roughly 15% below the APO price. Yeah, and when this loss come out, I think a lot of people are going to be realizing it and jumping ship.
Yeah, and they're right now they have heavy selling pressure on the stock. They have a lot of large volume exits on the sell side, so.
Yeah,
it's hard to move that out. It's hard to get that out of the way. So, good luck.
I mean, it's this is what, 2 weeks ago? Roughly 2 weeks ago, we see 7.7 million shares traded. 7.7 million JMB shares is a holy bunch
of money.
Yeah. Right? Even if you do it at today's current prices, that is over 100 million. That's 254 million Jamaican dollars on one day, right? Mm-hmm. I'll add to that they're also a financial holding company, as we know, so they're prohibited from paying dividends until next year by the BOJ. So that's another thing in their favor against them. Another thing in their universe, but against them. So them can't pay dividends. They have a big lick coming from their US arm. They have expected credit losses that they're going to have to account for, and they they have a whole heap of selling pressure.
Yeah, and
you're saying something?
Checking something specifically. So I do thought wrong.
And you mentioned while research here, you mentioned the fact that there's a lot of selling pressure for the people uninitiated. That means that there's heavy volumes being sold and not as many people buying. Right now in the queue, we're looking on about 70 people selling, and the second thing in the queue is 913,000 units at 34. Right? I'll just give you guys an idea of what that looked like. Again, shout out to the top striker, Shanice. Yo, she did advanced grow and it was amazing. Mm-hmm. She did it on short-term trading and how to pay attention to the technicals and on the queue watching and how to make money in the shorter term, but what to pay attention to the larger term. Full house, and I mean, amazing. Big up the top striker again.
Yep.
She did an amazing
every
job
time.
there.
Big up, Shanice.
Yeah, man, Shanice bad, man. But I'm bigging her up because of this point I'm making here, which is that 485,913 units at $34 mean that somebody is going to have to come in and pay $16.5 million for these shares. And that's the only way to get them off it. And even when you get them off it, two spots later down in the queue, there's somebody selling 1.1 million at 34. And right behind that, there's 604. It's a whole heap of selling pressure. So unless some pensions or some other houses have decided that they want a lot of JMMB shares for the next to buy now and to hold for the next 10 years, this price is unlikely, in my personal view, to pass the 34 mark anytime soon.
Agreed.
I mean, there's literally millions of shares between where we are now and 34. And on the sales and on the buy side, the biggest offer is somebody trying to buy some for 33 and 1 cent. Reality is, I don't think JMB is going to do that great in the near term. I think over the next quarter or two, they're going to have a whole heap of pressure. At least the next quarter that they're about to report, they're going to have a whole heap of pressure, and I think the rush is going to come. Funny enough, Dan, we're talking about this technically early.
Yes.
So somebody might be listening to this. If you've listened to this part of the show, if you've gotten this far in the episode and you're a JMB shareholder, you might want to talk to your licensed financial advisor about whether or not you want to keep holding this in the near term.
Actually, I want to hear what the financial advisors are saying right now.
I would love that. Yeah, guys, if you hear this and you talk to your financial advisor, ask them about it and ask them what they say. You don't have to tell them it's us say. You don't have to mention earnings season, but ask them what them saying at us on Twitter, at Danai or myself, or at earnings season, earnings_season, and tell us what your financial advisor said about this and whether or not it's a good idea to jump out and jump back in. It'll be good to hear industry view on this.
Indeed.
Yeah, but like I said, I jumped out and Danai said the same thing. Whew. It's disappointing. I don't know, part of it's also disappointing because I could tell that they were gearing up to be so well. Yo, they got about $500 million in terms of dividends from Sagicor Financial. In US dollars, the man get some nice dividend and convert, and then them can't pay it back. Them can't do share buyback. Them can't pay out no dividends. Them let's see what they come with. Might be interesting, yeah. I should point out that I did say to Danai privately that I wouldn't be surprised if JMB changes their because they're about to report their full year numbers. This is what this would be reported in. And in the event that, let's say, they made 1.5 billion in profit for the quarter, and for somehow between the Sagicor financial loss and the expected credit losses, let's say they managed to keep that to 1.5 or a little below 1.5, you might see JMB, instead of reporting what happened for the quarter, they might just report their full year. And because they are actually ahead of where they were.
It's audited, we're waiting on audited right now, right?
We are waiting on
man,
audited.
Definitely. We're not seeing a breakout at all. We're not seeing no quarter versus. So
yeah, and it doesn't look good. Yeah, them go and hide whatever don't look good for them.
Company agreed. Company generally don't report for them audited. They don't generally report a quarter and then the full year. They just report the full year and done.
Exactly. So, and that might serve their benefits.
Nice time to get this last, right?
Yep. Because it allows them to hide. You might actually see, I think they're 22% ahead of where they were last. They are. They're 33% do I have this wrong? No, on a net profit basis. 9 month to 9 months, 31st of December 2019 to 31st of December 2018 versus 31st of December 2018, they're 33% ahead of where they were the previous year. 4 billion in profit versus 3.
The talk we had when we had a good expectation for SFC was they're this far ahead and then they'll report SFC yet. And
yes.
Channel.
And then coronavirus. Yeah. Boy, we don't know them rough. So they get hit with the dividend restriction, they get hit with the corona hit on the share price, and also get hit with Sagicor Financial, which was supposed to be their saving grace.
Yep.
And boy, there's just no. We don't know what to say. And you could tell because there are company insiders that were buying up a lot of shares, right up until their blackout date, right up until the 31st of March. Millions of JMB shares were bought up. So I don't know what to tell you, brother. The one thing I would love to see. What you wish?
As in, I wished things were different, but so you go.
Yeah.
Have to move on.
It looked like it. Yeah. The one thing I want to say, because I do think I want to say it for listeners. 2 things. One, I know I made a mistake at one grown as talking about the dividends, and we may have said it on this show also in the past. That the dividends, we figured it out, but we haven't said it on the show. Sure. I'm not sure, but let me
again. Continue. Go.
Yeah. That the dividends that they'd get from Sagicor Financial is not going to show on the P&L, the profit and loss statement, because it's an associate company. So it's going to be included in their general numbers. So even that then means that it's less of a good reason for a good deal for them. They'd still get the cash and the cash flow. We did say it on the show. Because I did mention the cash flow there. But JMB certainly have what seems to be a hit coming. And I think some people know because the share price has started to fall over the last few days.
Some people said the thing there, the SFC, and I think David tweeted about it.
Yes, David tweet very, very early. As it come out, David tweet about it. I can't wait for him to be pushing some heavy money in the market, and then you'll see why I'm stop talking about very quickly. Oh gosh. Yeah, but we'll see.
Talk after cool. Let me not talk about this till me get myself.
Right? I think David wants to be a market
interest, right?
Yeah, I think David wants to be a market mover, but it's not going to move the market in the wrong direction for himself. So just for 2019, their financial year of 2019, and it's important, their financial year ends the 31st of March. Their financial year for 2019, they made 3.8 billion in profit, only 3.9 billion. And as at the 9-month mark, they're already 4 billion ahead. So they're ahead of last year. So as long as they can contain the Sagicor loss and the expected credit losses to whatever the profit for the fourth quarter was, they can still report being ahead of last year. Yeah. But how realistic is that? Yeah, that's a gamble. You can actually work it out if you want to work a percentage on their loans and whatever, but I would not. I've already stated my point. Yeah, good luck. I'll see you when you guys are good again. Jamaica producers.
Boy, you're not tired of that? What is?
Sick and tired of that. I think we talked about it when the results came out, so I won't even spend too much time on it to say that I love it still.
And it's everybody's favorite, Randy say.
Yeah, except for the Barita, the dark horse.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Yeah. Which is funny because I actually don't own any Barita shares currently.
Same.
Very, very interesting, yeah. But I still believe it's a dark horse, and I still intend to profit heavily from it this year if all things go as planned. Yep. They have an APO coming, right? They've just said that they have an APO coming. We would have passed them because we mentioned them long ago, but I think that's worth mentioning that they do have an APO. They just got the permission to have their APO.
They got the permission, or they just
the table they said that they're going to table the request to have an APO at their AGM, which is to be held on July 6th. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so soon. And APO, we'll see how the terms for that go.
Yes.
So going back to Jamaica producers, I mean, still like them. 22.95 is what them trade at. Today they're 18.16, 18.2 times in terms of our PE ratio. Doing good and Next up is it. What is the next thing?
Your favorite?
JSE.
Yeah.
My favorite company. PE ratio of 28.7 times, 28.6 times at a price of 20.86. Actually bought JSE.
Really bring that price back down.
Boy, oh boy.
And I was like, where are you guys going with this one?
Yeah. You know, I actually bought some at 19 or 20 thereabouts, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I exited about 21, 22 thereabouts.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I realize, I mean, you like them, but can't carry go shop, right? And while they have good trades happening, they have good income coming in. End of the day, it's not like that carry go shop. They're not worth it in my view currently for my personal goal.
Yeah.
And timeline. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will always state though that JSC will always make money and will always grow as long as people are buying and selling stocks, mm-hmm. and as long as more companies are coming onto the market. Exactly. And a large part of my outlook for them was that they were supposed to be having, you remember how much Mrs. Street Forest had mentioned for the year? Was it 20 or 40 listings or something like that?
Yeah, it was quite a lot. Corona.
For this year. Corona mashed that up. Who is going to be the first to come back and set the trend again? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. As it is now though, down on revenue for the 3-month period but ahead. Am I seeing this right? No, they're not down on revenue. They're ahead on revenue and they're ahead on profit. But I believe that these gains have been priced in. I would have liked them more if we were having that raft of IPOs because, mm-hmm. That means a lot for them. Yeah. But Corona hit them hard. Not much else to say.
Not much else
to say. So that's the JSC. Next up is KEX.
Another one I don't have really much to say. So I imagine Corona was not a good time for them as well.
No, they actually stopped services completely at one point.
Wow.
Yeah, they actually stopped. I remember them stopping services at one point and stating that, during March 20, and I'm reading from the FTNA here, during March 2020, the company suspended passenger services on several routes and implemented cost-cutting strategies while maintaining our courier services throughout the island. So you can send stuff, but you can't go on it. Notwithstanding, we expect the pandemic to have a negative impact on fourth quarter results. And then it is the usual monitoring the situation to blah, blah, blah. But so these were their third quarter results, 9 months results up to February 29. So that means that for the year and then no Corona going to hit them. If they stop in March, April, May, so the year done for them. So they already know what is what. They know how good, bad, or ugly it was. And let me see if you see any of them. Well, they're selling. I think it'd be too obvious if they sold, and there's also not enough insiders for them to sell. Yeah,
not much shares traded.
But in February, right before the year, their financial year ended, Monday, February 25th, a connected party purchased some, and a director purchased some in February. But those guys might have different timelines. Yeah. You can't put a lot on that.
Believe in a company. So I believe it only makes sense to get better.
Exactly, right? Because they're not like us per se. They're there for the long haul. So they have to think, okay, this is bad, but we're going to be here 5 years from now, and I will appreciate that I bought those shares at this time. As it is now, even at $8.11, the PE ratio of 29 times is, I think, high.
Yep,
and only set to be higher. I'm breezing KEX personally. Same. That's what Express. Yeah, not the service though, just the stock. Actually, enjoy the service.
Yeah. I don't travel that much.
Sometimes
can't really speak for it. I don't think I've ever been on it actually.
Oh wow, it's a nice country ride.
People that follow my Twitter don't know. Men, get yourself a car grade. Yeah, full change. The walk foot thing. Make sure you're the walk foot one in a relationship.
Oh wow. It's a key. Wow. Key, which we have mentioned when we were talking about GK.
Yes.
I think we've spoken about Key multiple times. Yeah. Key is a company that you're going to have to look at as, think of it like a new company.
Mm-hmm.
What's important for Key is what's coming. I won't even bore you with any of the old numbers. So one interesting tidbit I'll give you from Key's numbers is that they seem to have ended their relationship with their reinsurer.
Yes.
Meaning, when I ended their relationship here, I mean the contract.
Yeah. Like, hey.
So how say that again?
Continue.
Yeah. So understanding how insurance works is important. We said there's two parts of the business. One is the premiums, and they don't really insure themselves. What they do is they reinsure, and it would appear that because of the kind of risk that they have and the size that they were, meaning small, they weren't necessarily getting the greatest rates, and they were getting hit hard on that. And the last set of information that we got was that they seem to have redone their agreement with this person. They ended the agreement with them, and there was no provision in that for monies to be returned. So they put the hit on their books, which impacted their hit hugely. If you know how to analyze businesses, you can draw some inferences from that and next steps from that. In terms of ownership, GK owns them fully now, and they are also no longer a junior market company. As of the 9th of April, they are a main market company, which means no more tax break. But you only pay taxes if you make profit, and they haven't made a profit in a long time. But let us see what comes out of it. What they call the motor quota share reinsurance agreement.
Termination.
I usually hold these things back. I'll just say it. They're under a group now where there are multiple insurance companies. They're probably just going to group up with them and enjoy lower rates, because it's not just Key alone now, it's the entire group. And Key itself is a vehicle that might be used for all sorts of things. We've half tweeted it, we've half said it. Still like Key. Thankful for the money I've made from Key, and so is my landlord. And I continue to be a shareholder, happy expectant shareholder.
Agreed.
Leave it there. Kelly, not a quiet one. You can take that one, Danai.
Kelly. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Kelly is that ship that never sailed. Right? We talk about what we're doing this. Then him again that hotel, the villas or whatever it is. Hotel or villa?
Yes. Yeah, there's some
what's up with that?
Construction thing.
That happened yet?
Nope. You know what? There is a petty bet that I made with somebody. I don't even remember who it was. And I told him that there was a date that we must look by. And I said, I bet you say, and it was like a year or two down the line. Mm-hmm. And I say, I bet you say, like a year later, we're still going to be waiting on what the hell was it? Oraka Bessa.
Yes, Bessa
something. Bessa. Yeah.
Boy, it Bessa messes news to me now.
As of the last I heard about it was October 26, 2018. Wow, it's so long ago. That the Bessa Villas were supposed to be done in partnership with Sagicor, right? And the St. Mary development was supposed to cost 22 million. And developers are already taking reservations for the units, and they're supposed to be delivered by, guess when? 2020. Yeah, so I guess not. So again, just like we've been waiting for how long for that, we still continue to wait. In vain, they're really waiting in vain, this boy. Bessa Properties, supposed to be delivered in 2020, and all know it can't reach, and it's definitely not going to get there. Yeah. Tired of that.
Tracks on Records.
They did buy back their franchise.
Franchise, yes.
Yeah, completely.
June 13th, 2020. Jamaica Observer.
That's when they bought it back?
No, man. Jamaica Observer.
Okay.
Revenue is down 90% for Tracks on Records. Woo. Need I say more?
Woo. No, when last you got a restaurant? Corona dash that way, you know? Corona dash that way. I mean, I hear it opening back up, and God knows I'm happy that it's opening back up, because we need things to open back up. But as it is now, Kelly. What them share price?
Oh, boy.
$1.70.
What be on that?
The PE, NA. They've not made any profit.
Yeah, cool.
They've not made any profit in a long, long time. The entire company is worth 170 million. That's the market cap.
That's crazy. Wow.
That is crazy. Anyway, I'll show you how crazy it is later. I'll move on. I think people here enough to know how we feel about Kevin.
Yeah.
Unless you have something specific you want to say.
I said I read the headline.
Yeah.
How the UK development's going, about how much stores across the UK.
You're writing right now going to UK and nobody now stop and eat.
Yeah. How much stores built? How much stores are actually built?
About the same amount as Bessa, I suspect.
Okay, all right, cool, great.
KP REIT, Kingston Properties REIT, one of the oldest companies on the stock exchange. One of the older companies on the stock exchange.
As much as I don't pay attention to it, my favorite it is based on
Kingston Properties,
based on the start and all that.
Oh yeah. And this is
Amando, I think black man money.
Yeah, but and it stayed that way.
Yeah.
And them not and is
black-owned business, Randy.
There we somebody tell me what's even like black-owned businesses.
Really?
All to this date hurt me. Yeah, it was, I think he was just talking. It's one of them people on Twitter.
Oh,
they're just talking. Talk is easy.
Talk is cheap.
Yeah, talk is cheap. But the black man business, nicely balanced board too. Mm-hmm. 3 women, 3 men. Mm-hmm. I think one of the most noticeable names from it is Gary Sinclair, who used to head Lime CWJ
Wireless. Which has to do with the start.
Yes, which is a start of how this whole thing came, and I'm happy for it. Yeah, man, this is the sort of thing that REITs, slow money, rich money.
Yep.
And it's good to see one of them in the hands of a black man and black people. So you care about your money over the next 10, 20 years, and you definitely not head it, but just want a little pension, ask your investment advice.
And you caught up with Twitter. On Twitter telling they say, buy black-owned businesses. Well, guess what?
Yeah. That's right.
Here we are.
You can own one.
You can be the black.
I think Corona might... Yeah. What do you think about them in terms of their business prospects now, though?
All right, so thing that, well, they have residential thing there. Real estate. So you know that go. Mm-hmm. If it's not long term, then problems. I don't think that we're necessarily in the short term market, to be honest. But that still might be a problem because you might have people moving back home. But they recently did something there, some sale of property owned.
Yes.
Because they're looking for new opportunities. I think they bought into more.
Yes.
So yeah.
How they put it is that they wanted to move away from the South Florida market and into a more lucrative market in the Cayman.
Yeah.
So yeah. So sold out a lot of the Florida properties and bought Cayman and Jamaica. Bought Caymanian properties, yields there. Low and slow money. So it go. Them said them portfolio is distributed in 25% office, 31% residential, 37% warehouse and industrial, and 7% retail.
So they might just be fine still.
Yeah, well, a company like this is built to be fine no matter what. Yeah.
Well,
they're not going to be
a whole those guys moving really. So their tenants are not seeing like a mass migration from
places. Yeah, people just kind of holding and waiting. And 31% residential. People have to live somewhere. Yep. Businesses have to exist somewhere. It's a nicely, if you care about REITs and you're okay with low and slow money, understanding what that means, then that's fine. They have in their annual report that their stock price went up 11% in 2019, and they highlighted that. So that gives you an idea of what it is that they're looking for. All right. So if you're looking for that sort of low and slow, but it will weather storms like Corona and market slowdowns, then this might be for you. Yep. Yeah. I like them, but I don't own any, and I don't have any intentions to own any for a while. Creamy. Still a shareholder. Big up Ryan, because him did sell me this. Him did sell 5 soles. Him did sell me this. Not sell me. Well, yeah, he sell because he was part of the team to list it.
The hell did I hear about Evanos recently?
I don't know. What was that? 3,500? What was that?
I heard about Evanos recently.
Good, bad, ugly? What was it?
Oh, good, man. Good.
Wasn't there going under Creamy? I know they're related, but... Devon House numbers don't touch creamy.
I know. I just talk about creamy stuff. But yes, continue. Let's actually go back to money. So yeah. Creamy.
Their year ended February 29th, 1.7 bill revenue versus 1.55 bill revenue the year before. And in terms of profit, last year they made 88.7 million in profit. This year they make 54.6 million in profit. Business down heavily.
Yep. They're under the tax rate now, so.
Yeah, and that's it. They no longer have the tax break. So now they're facing straight up tax, which is funny because last year they paid more in taxes. Almost double.
That's funny.
Almost double the amount in taxes. So the business itself is just down.
Yeah.
Rough. From a not at a gross profit level, because at gross profit level they're still high. And at gross revenue level they're still high. But yeah, I think they're just going to have to weather the storm. And I remember being bothered at one point. Let me go back and look. I remember being bothered at one point by the increase in their admin costs. Yeah, but no, I think it has gone so far that it's no small.
Yeah.
Selling and distribution 15. Is Wisynco that distribute for them?
Yes, I believe.
Is Wisynco does their distribution? Okay, well. That is good in that regard. Distribution lock, but at the end of the day, their staff costs their expenses overall is going to need some handling. I believe there was. Yeah, I mean, I still own it, but I wouldn't say I own it in any great amount. A small amount, and I'm not really excited about them right now. They're going to have to take a hit. Maybe 2 years down the line, they'll be good in terms of the market again. Unless something major change. Yeah. Oh well, that's creamy. What's next?
KW.
Kingston Wharves, the part of JP that we mentioned.
Yes, heavy money for JP.
Kingston Wharves probably at its most realistic PE ratio in a long time.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a PE, right? And it's a PE ratio of 24.4 times. And that's at a price of $57.49.
Yep.
I mean, Kingston Wharves is Kingston Wharves. Things will always come in. They don't really they trade every day, but not very heavily, you know?
Yeah.
And it's really just a matter of how COVID affects them. I think that is it. Dividends will still be paid out because they have to pay the parent company. Parent company need that money. And they are doing their AGM. I saw some live stream stuff there, but I don't know hugely what it is. Tell me something. JP Logistics fall under Kingston Wharves, the Euro part?
No. Nope. Separate. JP,
completely
that's
separate.
JP's thing.
But, JP keep his okay.
But Kingston Wharves is a sensible purchase for JP. We need logistics. We need the business integrated and make it run.
Of course. Yeah. And that will never change. Yeah. That is not going to change.
Smart. It's a smart business purchase. So
yeah. That's them owning their vertical. Mm-hmm. In fact, it is true. Yeah, they own their vertical completely. That's speaking about JP.
Yeah. Okay. You know, I have some thoughts about this. We have time.
We always have time.
Thing though, quite again. People don't understand profitability for like a thing there. So JP was making. They need a stronger logistics line so they can actually push their products better, right?
Mm-hmm.
They buy into Kingston Wharves. So Kingston Wharves it doesn't actually make them money, but it decreases the costs for them, and their product is unprofitable for them. Then, the product is more profitable as long as the profit. So, if over time the newer profits they make from the acquisition actually increases, pays for the acquisition itself, then them good because in reality, how much they actually own? 40%.
Who owns the rest?
Public. So kind of other people money play. Even though we put our money into the other people money play because the interest, we only pay for 40% for 43%.
Mm-hmm.
The loss that is owed to us. By the way, KW is not in a loss. So clear that up. But the loss that would come back to them if KW was in a loss would only be 40-something%. So as long as they beat out the acquisition costs and the strength of their business, actually the growth in the business from the acquisition,
Mm-hmm.
it just makes sense. So that's why the KW logistics, the JP logistics play makes sense because to them it was an expense line. So
and why take on an expense that you can't eat from?
Just build out a full thing. It's now cheaper for us to do our thing, so we're making more profit on our lines that used to go through that expense line, and then now I'm bringing some more money from other people, so it does make sense.
Yeah, literally, it's a logistics version of Canopy.
Yes,
or
exactly that.
Canopy.
Yes.
Yeah, we have to pay this fee anyway,
Yep.
and that's going to form a part of our cost. So why not just own the thing that we have to pay the fee to? Yeah, and if we run it at a loss, I'm so sorry, but our products and our main thing still got going. And if we run it profitably, we still make money. So you cover yourself there. Yeah, it just makes sense. It's big business that is understanding a business.
I don't know who put the thought recently that, but Dimitri was I think it was just thing that he was explaining. Because somebody mentioned about Lab and Palace, about Lab buying Palace and
Lab.
Yeah.
Buying what?
Palace Amusements.
Amusement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't see it either, but I think Dimitri was trying to explain. He just chimed in to explain how that could be a sensible purchase for them in that same line. I thought, hey, if say the production arm, if they can actually exactly, if they can push things,
they can produce content.
Exactly, they can push things through it and be profitable on that content. Then Pius could have, then their stake in Pius could do whatever, as long as they're still profitable on a total from their purchase of Palace. They're not make money. Not saying Lab is going to buy Palace, but
that type of say it again. Yeah. Because I can hear already. I can feel my phone going off. Randy, I heard that you were saying on some show that
yeah, Lab is, as far as I'm concerned, Lab is not buying Palace. I'm not seeing where they would push that, but that's the type of thinking that would come from that.
Yeah, conglomerate. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So, with all of that said, Kingston Wharves is great in the long term, depending on what you think and what your licensed investment advisor says. And with that nice segue, you did mention Lab. I hardly ever talk about Lab. I think people think that I have these great feelings for Lab where, if my seminal like it, I'm offended. No. Or like if people I dice with them talk about it with me, and I don't like that feeling, so I don't talk about it much. And also I don't want anybody to ever think that I am saying anything or know anything inside. People won't believe when I tell them I don't know nothing with Lab. I stopped working at Lab day to day sometime now, but people seem to still think that I know everything. And then did I there? I mean, I don't know. I can ask, but I'm not going to be asking all the time because I also want to have that obvious line of separation. Anyway, I'll talk about Lab. Just released the 6 months numbers yesterday. Long time I don't sweat over a set of numbers like this. Right off the bat, revenue 471.4 million, and this is 6 months results ended April 30th. So this is another company, guys, that is giving us a month and a half, almost 2 months worth of Corona experience, right? So 471.4 million in revenue versus 334 the year before, and for the quarter itself, 145.1 was last year. This year, 208.4 million, and this is just revenue. Strong, right? The gross profit is high. I won't go into those numbers, but they're also increasing their gross profit margin, which means they're making more money off the money that they're making, that they're taking in. Admin expenses on the 6 months did fly from 49.6 to 78.1. I believe that is explained in MD&A. I could be wrong, but I believe it's explained in the MD&A where they said that it is yes. These increases are primarily attributable to admin expenses increased by 27 million or 55%, and these increases are primarily attributable to staff costs due to increased work volume.
Yep.
And they continue to do that thing. There's this video of me talking about the Lab all the people in the lab that was never put out publicly. I actually have it, but I won't be the one to put it out. But in it, I think I talk about one of these points that I did put together for pre-IPO was to concentrate on the fact that the lab does try a lot to keep its admin expenses below 20% or below 16% usually is what they like to do. 20% is what you'd say, and people tell you 30%. You have different ratios. Point is, they kept theirs at 16% of revenue. So 16%, 16.6 or 16.7% of the revenue that comes in is what goes to admin costs. So even though the admin costs went up, the revenue also revenue also rose. And the nice one, which I always talk about, net profit. that one, that dirty word, that dirty phrase, profit. 6 months in, 86.7 million profit. Versus last year, 6 months was 57.1. People, 57.1 million when the lab made that in April 2019 was the greatest profit that they had made ever in their existence in a 6 month period. Right? There are years when the lab never made 57 million for the entire year. For the quarter, they made 37.7 million versus the same quarter last year, which was 24.5. Right? Here's a comparison that I give people, the easy comparison. Last year, ended October 2019, was the best year ever in lab's existence. October 31st, 2019, ended the lab's highest performance year ever. And they made $94.7 million for that year. In 6 months of this year, they have made $86.7 million. In 6 months. They have another 6 months to go, and Corona done. I don't know if you guys heard. Check halfway through. Corona done. Corona isn't done, but I think a lot more communication from corporate entities have to happen now. And so they have another 6 months worth of messaging to come. And yeah, I tweeted it long ago, little after IPO, that the only thing I expect lab to break is records, and they continue to do it.
Indeed.
Yeah. To concentrate, I concentrate heavily on the P&L for lab. I know lab very well, but let's not that they also pay dividends. And here's a cool point, talking about them buying things. So in terms of cash flow, so dividends can only ever be paid from retained earnings, and the lab's retained earnings are as at April 30th, 2020 is 200 and am I have seen this right? Yeah, 244.9 million Jamaican dollars, right? That's their retained earnings. Their cash on hand, if you look at the cash flow statement, their cash and cash equivalents at the end of the year, at the end of the period, not the year, because we're only 6 months through their financial year, is 352 million. They have more cash on hand than retained earnings. Right? Watch this though. They have 352.4 million. You remember Kelly? They have enough money to buy all of Kelly and still have hundreds of million left over. Because what I said Kelly was like 170. So they'd still have over 100 million left over.
Change the name. Kimala Lab. Yeah. Kimala Lab Entertainment.
Yeah, Kimala Lab Enterprises. Yes, there's so many things that the lab. I mean, I'll tell you. I WhatsApped her after I went through the results, and I sent her a clap emoji and say, "Amazing work." Especially in a time of Corona, this is amazing work. Because I was sweating over whether or not they would have a dip, because I know a lot of companies cut their marketing budgets. But now Kimala continues to truck on. And if you think about it logically, people, all those companies that tell you to be Corona safe, and all those notices about Corona that go out there, and all those ads that include Corona and people in masks, no, you think it's not marketing companies that making those ads? Marketing companies make ads, right? That's what they do. So you think they stopped us because of the time of Corona? It's different things. And obviously there's a huge shift to online. The eyes online or online media, no, but it doesn't mean that they haven't shifted. They've shifted right quite along with them. So I don't know. You have anything you want to add to this?
Sir.
Yeah, there's literally nothing else. Yeah, there's literally nothing else, like I said, other than, I mean, they're 7 million away from what they did last year. And last year was a record year for them. So
damn.
Do with that what you will. I continue to remain a proud Lab shareholder.
Yeah.
Big up Lab. Yeah. Last D. Lasco Distributors. Current PE ratio of 20.9
Oh, I think last
times.
D had some nice numbers recently. Or was it last year?
I think it would be last D.
Yes, it was last D.
Yeah. So for the year, they made 19.5 billion in revenue versus 18.1. And on a profit basis, net profit for the year, 725.8 mil versus 597.8 mil the year before. So last D has had their earnings increase.
And if you look at if you look at the that's funny. If you look at thing there, December 9 months. The 9 months in 2019 were less than the 9 months in the year before. And then now they have the final year better than the year before. So that tells me that the last quarter was strong.
Pushed, even though there was Corona there, right? Wow. Because they report up to March, the 31st of March. So wow.
Strong.
I would rate. Yeah, I rate that sort of performance. And of course, it's being considered as one of those companies that is built to weather crises like Corona. Yeah, they have a segment report that they pull things out. They have a pharmaceutical division and a consumer division. And the revenue for the consumer division was 15.6 or 15.7, and the pharmaceutical division revenue was 3.8, and that's billions, by the way. Strong results there. I am comparing it to last year, same period last year, where the consumer division gave them 408 million versus 557 this year, and 189.6 million versus 154 this year. So pharmaceutical actually dipped in terms of results, but consumer more than made up for it by, I guess, being more efficient, because the increase in revenue is not that big. Yeah, so that is impressive. That is just a tighter ship, it would seem.
Indeed.
Yeah, you can't have these kind of results. Sorry, you saying something just on
no,
the
nice?
I don't think I
was reading, sorry.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, yeah. Yeah, and of course they have their commissions. They have a distribution agreement with a distribution company called Productos Roche Interamericana. I guess a local distributor, but coming from Central America. No, apologies. And they're very clear in what it is. It is them distributing that company's products in Jamaica.
Oh, man, usual. So I was wondering why would just need a distributor? Unless,
yeah, exactly.
Unless the business is that much of them can't take it on for themselves right now. But okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And they're pretty good, and so they have their commission, which means they sold Roche's inventory. They have less this year than they made last year. Interest income was also down, but miscellaneous income was up. I don't like that. I don't like when miscellaneous income is a thing that's higher, and it's tripled. I don't like a tripling of miscellaneous income.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't like I don't like when it comes from there. It tripled from 5 million to 15 million.
Yeah. At least.
Oh well.
Yeah, it offset the rest of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like that sort of thing at all. But looking at overall top line, I think top and bottom line, I think that it continues to be strong, and I think a lot of people in the industry expect it to be very, very strong. And expectations is what influences share prices heavily, along with good results. And not going too deep into this here, but the results on the surface of it seem pretty good. And the expectation also is pretty good. I've heard lots of analysts speaking about last day as a thing that is meant to weather the coronavirus storm, and they distribute cheap products, blah, blah, blah. Whether or not that is a reality on the ground is something else, but I mean, hey, good enough results.
Indeed.
Yeah. Last F, or is it last M that's
That's
next?
F.
M. F, that's next. You want to take that one?
Sure.
They're close to that $2.52 per share. PE ratio of 37.7 times.
Yep.
We don't have full numbers from them yet, but they are a financial company.
Oh, we don't have a thing
Last
that
year-
March 2020 numbers from it.
No, we
do
just
not.
have up to December 31st.
So yes, I expecting ECL to not be so good on them as a type of company
Ooh.
they are. Yeah. But they were. You saw the thing there? Well, they look at the last quarter. Ooh, that's a hit. Although it's probably what it's already before. There was a thing there. The last quarter profit was only $2 million
Ooh.
compared to 106.
What was the reason for it? Ouch.
Yep, what a
Is it the
beating.
tax?
The tax. Is
yes,
Lasco paying taxes now.
Yes, Lasco no longer has a tax break.
Yes.
But that tax is still heavy.
And but the thing is, again, but if you look at it, profit before tax, it was still bad.
Profit before tax is 40 million.
Compared to 113. Whoa. So you're taking a hit up top.
Yeah, but why would you have
selling and
taxes
promotion
of 38 against profit of 40?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, that is strange. I read the MD&A now, which I hadn't when I glanced through it, but they state in the MD&A that the third quarter profit, though low, is an improvement on the previous quarter, which closed at a loss of 16.3 million. In comparison to the previous year, however, LASEF's current 3 months profit significantly underperformed the 106.5 million. This is management speak, where you say a lot without saying anything, because nothing was said a while ago. Here we go. This is attributable to our continuous overly cautious approach to loan loss provisions. So they are deliberately being cautious with the ECLs?
We're not selling and promotion expenses that jump.
Yeah. LASEF continues to go through a rough time. And this was signed by Jacinth Hall Tracy. Jacinth Hall Tracy. However,
I think it's just Jacinth, sir. Right.
Jacinth?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know.
I've never heard Jacinth used for anybody.
It could be a Spanish name. or maybe she was named after like a Cuban name. You know, they say Jacinth instead of Jacinth.
Yes, sir. But
probably not. But she was speaking on behalf of the company up until May. So, yeah. I guess she had to be the one to say this uncomfortable thing. It's always hard for them to explain. Yeah, man, rough, bad, man. Admin expenses jump from 231 to 265. So it's not much of a jump.
Oh, yes. It wasn't much of a jump.
Yeah, selling and promotion expenses, 203 to 261. So you're seeing about 30 million on the first line and about 60, close to 60, 50 odd. So 80 odd million difference on the second line. Look at 526 versus 434. And that 80 odd really counts as one of those little cases where that number looks small. But it adds up. So it's now 92.9 mil versus 163 in the previous year. So they're already below. And then finance cost is 51.9 versus 49. So the finance cost itself wasn't very big in terms of the difference, but it's taking 50 million from 163 versus 50 million from 92.
Yeah, and then that tax.
Yeah, I just don't understand why the taxes are high.
Yeah.
Why would the tax be 38?
Yeah, so I'm not seeing. I need to look at it.
Profit of 40. Yeah, that is very strange. Because isn't tax supposed to be 25%? And they don't have a line explaining it.
Yeah, because I know sometimes the tax varies based on whatever happened in this item may tax more. So I'm wondering if that tax liability that they had. Yeah, I wonder.
But we would see it elsewhere because they do the same business as GK, meaning they're into loans and they're into one part of the GK financial group. They're into loans and they're into remittances.
No, as in like a deferred tax liability. I wonder if it's something like that. But
a little bit the opposite of that, like you push your tax, you push your tax to a date when you have to pay it or something like that.
I wonder.
It's so weird that they said nothing about it either.
Yeah.
But we will see when we see the audited, which of course is late.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Lasef, but I don't like Lasef enough to buy any, and I think it's overvalued personally. PE ratio of 37 times, and they don't have the tax break anymore.
Yep.
That is a big enough deal to have me worry. Yeah, I will. All right. So last manufacturer in the third open company in the Lasco group. What do you feel about them, then?
Last M is almost, I think, everybody's favorite Lasco right now. I think to speak about last
D, I think.
No man, this after the path I hear is around last M. I think last D was from thing that time, man, from the ruling time. People been on it.
Yes.
But in recent times, I know Ryan is a fan.
Yeah, they made 7.9 million in revenue versus 7.6 million the year before. Sorry. And the net profit last year was 1.08 billion. This year it's 981 million. So close, but no cigar.
Yeah.
Not that great. The comprehensive income is a lot better, a lot closer on the comprehensive income side, and they have financial instruments that they also lost 148 million on. Everybody, the market drop hit everybody, boy. Oh well. I mean, as it is now, how else do you feel about them?
It's a good company. I'm not really hot on Lasco. Last time I'm not really hot on it. I think as we've spoken about how the protection they get from Last D, but it still pushes Last D to do better. Where I could become a Wisinko basically. So as long as we say a lagging, Last D doing better. As long as we're lagging Last D's numbers and Last D actually pushing and being more, because they read the face of the company. That's, I would say,
yes,
yeah, because then do the selling. We get the products from them and then we push from last time and we push them out.
I think actually them have like a arrangement where pretty much, again, this is just my view of it. Pretty much anything that Last
M makes Last D buys.
Exactly. But I will admit that they're rated.
It's still it's still good money.
Yes, and they're fairly valued. Well, not fairly valued if you compare them to the market. No, they're cheap. They have a PE ratio.
Definitely. Minimum last time very often they trade it below thing there. They trade it on a low PE. So if anything, there's more value to be realized in it from that perspective.
Yeah, well, I mean, a year ago, they were about $4 in July. Now if you look as far as September, they were $5. So now when they're at $3.97, less than $4, if you consider that they may actually continue to make profit, because even though the profit is lower, I think there's been a heavy sell down.
Yeah.
They got hit in the same sell down as everybody else in February, March.
So the value is still there, basically.
Exactly. People bought this at $281 in March, and now they're at $397. That is nice.
Yep, money make.
You make a good 41% on a company that nobody is necessarily paying attention to. And it have good enough volumes, not big major volumes, but 200,000 units. You can pull 100 grand, 500 grand in and out. I mean, I like Lasem.
Yeah.
But it's
not like, oh my God.
Yeah. But there's some good for that. Sometimes there's a lot of good to be where people aren't paying attention and they can surprise. Any good news, boom, them fly. Yeah.
Anyway, everybody saw Columbus.
Oh, wow. I've discovered this place. There seem to be some people here.
I never thought of, that says how hungry I am. I never thought of the type of joke that is at this time.
Oh, I mean, it's a timely joke. I don't really rate Columbus, so.
No, yeah, hold that forever.
Oh, you mean? Well, timely. Well, we've already spoken about some companies. I will keep.
Oh no! Whoa, you see, I was thought of that part too. But okay. I was out of that part.
Oh my God,
There's
that
more
could be
to
an
it.
entire show.
Yeah.
There are all these layers. You should be hungry longer. Anyway, was the last one is Lumber, a company that I think a lot of people have ignored.
Ignored, definitely. Price down by IPO price chilling.
Is it? Yes, 1.1. And I think I still own
Me
shares in
too.
Lumber,
I think I want to go down.
Yeah. Yeah, Lumber had low, a good amount in there. Still like them.
Yeah.
1.1. I'll probably buy more. They have a PE ratio currently at $1.11. The PE ratio is 9.5 times.
That's crazy.
Wow, but they do have some results to give us. Lumber Depot Limited. The last I reported was January 31st. And they were at the time, it was their 6 months number, so they have the 9 months numbers to tell us now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, brand new company now, so they don't compare it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I have to watch the prospectus.
They're actually due right now. Because the 9 months would be due February, March. They would be due June 15th. So they are actually due right now. Yes. So any day now, probably tomorrow. I mean, we're both shareholders at Lumber. I think we both like it. But I think we should be open with the fact that Lumber may have a hit coming from Corona. Yeah. Not that necessarily like construction stopped. We heard that it slowed, but I think just generally a lot of the construction activity might have slowed down. So I wouldn't be surprised if I see a drop in results, but or a slowdown in results. But at the same time, I mean, new company technically we'll have to go look at it versus, we'll have to go look at it versus what we see in the prospectus and looking at the blue power numbers and splitting them out, doing a little bit of hard math to the blue power number. Well, you can just look at the segment report for the old blue power numbers.
All right, so looking at thing there. Oh boy. I forgot how they did it. The 1 month thing. 1 month, 2 months, entire thing.
Yeah, I think they deliberately wanted it to be not quite as easy for us to go through.
But
even just viewing it
stronger than what it was before.
Yeah, and viewing a company on its own merits.
Yeah,
straight
definitely.
up on its own merits. You're seeing a company that is giving you, in 6 months, 37.5 million in profit with an EPS of 5 cents, which gives you the PE ratio of 9.5 times, which is way ahead of a whole heap of companies on the JSE. I say a whole heap of companies, I mean a whole heap of companies on the JSE. It is one of the lower PE ratios on it. And of course, PE ratio isn't everything. It's not the be all and end all. Sorry, it's not the be all and end all. But it, even if it has poorer results, I mean, what that would push it to a PE ratio of 12 times, 13 times. I mean, I like it. It stays in my portfolio because I'm actually perfectly okay giving it. I'm actually okay giving it a little bit of a wait. It is a long-term pick, believe that or not, which it always was because of the limited shareholdings. It and Cabroker. Anyway, so I still like it, and these results will be interesting because it's I think of these coming results as a real peek into what the underground construction sector looks like and how Corona will affect the underground construction.
I see Hardware and Lumber put it on ad, you know.
Really?
Just saw it. They're setting they're giving 1% of their online sales. They're donating 1% of their online sales. I'll send you the link.
Wow. That's interesting. Hardware Number used to be listed, and they're also owned by, or at least part owned by Grace Bogdanovich, who is also part owner of Kelly, correct. So he certainly has his work cut out for him. But yeah, I'll cut that Lumber and say that we like it, and I'm going to call time on this one. Who knows? We've been going for a while. Wow, people listen for 3 hours. Yeah, I might even still chop this up. Let's do a quick. So, guys, thank you for listening to this part of it. We'll be back with a second part and more companies later on, but we're calling time on it here because we don't want to overwhelm you too much with it.
Yep. I'm hungry.
And who knows, maybe we'll come back, we'll have more guests, but we will continue. I want to get this market thing out because it is getting harder and harder to do it. We may never do it quite like this again because it's quite a few companies. Indeed. And more coming on.
Yeah, it's quite a bit.
Yeah. Anyway, that was Hungry Than I just now. And I am hungry and tired, Randy, and this has been this week's earnings season. Hope you enjoyed, and we will see you again next week for more of the market review.
All right, guys, best up. Thanks for listening.
Boom.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Earnings season, bro.